The world faces the challenges of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Lions recognize that kindness matters now more than ever. And Lions and Leos are finding ways to continue to serve our communities, including ordering food delivery for healthcare workers, holding story time for children online, and providing surgical masks to medical professionals and first responders. Empowering us to do more, Lions Clubs International Foundation has provided nearly $2.5 million in grant funding for COVID-19 relief. And that support continues to grow. For more than 100 years, in times of need, Lions always find a way to help those around them. And after we emerge from this, we will be stronger than ever. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
Tired of having a website that doesn't reflect the quality of your brand? At JM Online, we specialize in custom websites for unique business needs. Your website should be more than just a digital billboard. It should be a powerful tool that grows your business. Awarded Omaha's best web developers in 2023, we're dedicated to local business success. So if you're ready to take your website to the next level, go to jmonline.com and request a call.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
1620 The Zone.
Expectations, we want somebody to play winning football at that position. You know, quarterback is a unique position in that you distribute the ball on every play, whether you hand it off, whether you choose the play that we run, whether you hand it off, whether you throw an advantage throw, making decisions in the passing game to throw it to the right guys at the right time in the right place and accurately. So who can do that with the most consistency and be a leader on our team who has an impact on the other players is also important, because quarterback may be one of the most difficult positions to play if the people around you don't play well. So I think that's a challenge for us too, is to get the people around our quarterbacks to play well. So that's a little easier for them to be able to have success at the position when they get the opportunity. I used the analogy earlier, you know, Grandma Saban used to bake the best cakes in the world. And I used to stand by the oven when I was a kid and say, when's this cake going to be done? When's this cake going to be done? And she said, if I don't let it go through and take it out of the oven too soon, it's going to turn to mush, so it won't be a really good cake. So I think we got to let this sort of develop. And make sure we let the cake bake until somebody separates themselves and all the players are working hard. They all have a good attitude. They're all competing well.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Hey, guys. Great to see you. Hey, that's Matt Rule.
It is. I forgot we had that, and so I was like, wait, let's throw that in.
Good to see you, Matt.
1 week from today, he'll be speaking at Media Days. Connor and myself will be in Indianapolis beginning on Wednesday morning, and then Nebraska a week from today. Will Rule go with the filibuster? Will he go tie, no tie? Will he go with just a hard-hitting statement? Will he just go with the Mike Leach 7-word, here we go? Or will he say, you know what? I heard it's tradition in Indianapolis when the football coach from Nebraska is on the podium.
Any questions?
And not say anything and just look around. But football season is here. Talking season. You heard from Nick Saban. I just will, at some point, we'll spend about a couple of hours talking about the legacy of Nick Saban. That is a popular thing. That's going to, I don't know what's going to get more worn out before the weekend is upon us. Nick Saban's legacy or Barbie.
Or did you hear
Can they combine them both?
Did you hear the new challenge? the challenge going on. Speaking of combining, the challenge going on, the Barbenheimer challenge.
Now, get out of here. We're not using that word. Where there's a couple of words with you two that are banned on the show. Barbenheimer,
okay.
We are not using. So, Jimmy, get it out of your system. Say it one time.
Tummy?
No.
No, Barbenheimer.
Oh, Barbenheimer.
Okay, we're done with that. How about the market? Hey, the marketing budget for
seeing the two movies in the same day.
Barbie must be through the roof.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Now it's getting really, really good reviews, like exceptionally good reviews, almost to the point of this could be an award movie, like Ryan Gosling,
wow,
or the director. but their marketing budget must be enormous because they are everywhere. It kind of reminds you of the old days of summer blockbusters.
Yep.
Where if the movie was coming out, like the toys would be in the fast food restaurant, or there would be, I don't know, there'd be a lot of promotion, and the actors and actresses would be all over the late night talk shows. Now you're not doing that now. But this kind of reminds me a little bit of that. We're going to talk about a little bit later because it coincides. There are some great days in Hollywood history where two blockbusters were released on the same day, like is going to happen this weekend with, get out of your system.
Well, Barbenheimer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Josh Hudson going
Barbie
to
and
Barbenheimer it up?
Oppenheimer, and
That's what I want to
You see it in the same day, apparently, as I thought this was actually in your world on the TikTok. I thought this was like started as a TikTok
you know
challenge.
what? Thankfully, I've got I got Ed O risen up people on the beach more than I have anything about Barbie,
which is good. TikTok,
which is good
for that.
Ed O's living his best life. All right, welcome in everybody on a Thursday morning. Today is a good day. Might be a little bit distracted because we have morning sports. If you stayed up late last night and into the early morning, the Women's World Cup in New Zealand and Australia has gotten underway. And unfortunately, yesterday, the sad news of the shootings in Auckland, they had a moment of silence. Yeah. And then going out and winning for the first time ever in the Women's World Cup, New Zealand beat Norway. So that is underway. The U.S. Trying to make it another championship. So you had that began last night. And then almost at the same time, the Open, British Open.
Whoa. I don't know who you are.
I had the pregnant pause.
Attaboy.
What was it, Dr. Laura that invented the pregnant pause, or was that Rome?
I see in my world it would have been Rome. But if Dr. Laura beat him to the punch on that, I'll give her credit.
I didn't know what the pregnant pause was called. I was thinking, before you give birth, you have a pause. Until Frank Caliendo did his impersonation of Jim Rome. And he goes, you got to insert the pregnant pause here for effect. But the British/Open is underway in Liverpool. And there is an interesting man at the top of the leaderboard. But live sports in the morning, greater than no live sports. You go back to the COVID era where anybody that just showed up and you wanted to play, you're like, hey, we have 9, you have 9. You guys want to play a baseball game at 8 in the morning? All right, let's do it. Yep. When the NBA was going on and they just played it all hours of the day, it was fantastic for morning sports radio. So anytime that we can get live morning sports like we do now with the British/Open is wonderful. And if you have Christo Lamprecht leading right now with a one-shot lead over Stuart Sink, congratulations. The course looks really good.
It does, and it's nice.
This is supposed to be a weather. Come on, to start raining
tomorrow.
Let's be cold. Let's get the wind going.
That's what I thought.
It's 66 degrees in Royal Liverpool, but tomorrow it's supposed to be a little bit more rainy.
That's the lure of, we get to majors like we were talking yesterday about the course. The weather. I want the weather. I want horrible conditions. I want people where their pants are, flapping in the wind.
Yeah, where everybody's busting out the rain pants.
I don't want people looking like, oh, okay, this is a nice day. I will say this. And for a trip across the pond to watch this major is on a lot of people's bucket list, is the crowds. Did you see the crowd around McIlroy and Hovland when they teed off? Whew, made the U.S. Open crowd look minuscule.
If you're making the comparisons.
There are monstrous crowds that are following McIlroy and Hovland today, and McIlroy is the sentimental favorite. So we'll keep you updated. A lot of the big names have yet to tee off, or they are just teeing off. Like Scotty Scheffler is through the front 9, and he is 1 under. I also like this, Nick, this tournament, because everybody tees off from 1.
Yep.
It's not like split tees from, they all tee off from 1. You got the starter that is there that doesn't take a break and is on a 10-hour bender to announce the golfers.
They should be. You think it's not only not frowned upon, but encouraged to, maybe have a pint.
No. So this, and I think the guy has changed.
Well, yeah, it used to be on the tee. Yeah, very sharp.
Then they have like they're like a robot,
like a cyborg.
I mean, he might have a heartbeat and a pulse, but he's like a robot. But yeah, that guy would be the starter, and he would announce all 52 groups. He had and from the USA, Tiger Woods. Yeah. Now, I did not do that in my English accent.
Well, the old guy though had that very distinct high-pitched kind of hello.
But he did.
It sounded like Mrs. Doubtfire.
It kind of did. Well, it kind of was sort of.
He did not look like him, though.
No, he did not.
He was a little small chap. He had his little Bagger Vance cap on.
Yep.
He looked very, very professional. But he would do a 10-hour shift, and he would have no bathroom breaks. He's like a prime candidate to fill in for Scott Hansen on the Red Zone. He never took a bathroom break. He didn't drink, and he did not eat anything while he was there because he stayed there for all of the 52 groups that would come through. It was great.
Put him on the Red Zone. Amazing would that guy be.
I don't know how long that would last. Like, people are dialed into the Red Zone.
Jalen Hurts, the young lad.
Dak Prescott has moved the Cowboys into the Red Zone. Let's look a live look in here, and we'll keep an eye on the Ravens and the Bengals as Lamar Jackson is leading the Ravens down the field.
We're going to Arrowhead now.
Cheerio. Let's go quad box.
It is the witching hour. Prepare yourself.
Pass the crumpets, oh boy.
Welcome. Get ready for 12 hours of football. But welcome in, everybody. It is off and rolling on a Thursday morning. And look at that punt rolled in by Patrick Reed. And he leaves it short. Dang, couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
I know. At one point, he was 2 under. It's a shame.
So if we get a little distracted, and if you get distracted today, it's okay. What is Patrick Reed doing? He's like blowing. Like, okay, is the axis of the earth going to tilt where the ball that is on the lip of the cup falls in?
Patrick Reed is always kind of looking for that edge, whether it's within the framework of the rules or just a bit beyond. So maybe he was, there was something going on there that Patrick Reed felt like, with that blade of grass, can I get a ruling? Because I feel like there is a section of this ball that's in the cup that I should be able to go ahead and count that. It's how Patrick Reed does things.
There's your guy. Tommy Fleetwood is 1 under through 10. I like that pick. I've gone with Ty Hatton.
Oh.
I like Hovland, but
on the 11th hour. Okay.
Ty Hatton I went through with. So I think Fleetwood, Cam.
Screaming a Berman nickname there.
Dustin Johnson and Ty Hatton.
Shane Lowry, by the way, I know we talked about he's 1 under today. So he's the okay.
So that's going on right now. So if you're up early and you watch morning sports, good on you.
Hell yeah.
That's how the way it should be. Now, we do have some disappointing news, though, as we begin the Thursday edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Like, for some, this is going to be some really, really sad news. And I hate to drop this on everybody at 6:19 because you're probably just waking up. And
it's gonna be a great day today.
The first voices you hear are ours.
Sorry.
Unless you live in Los Angeles, you don't win the Powerball.
Yeah.
It was $108 billion.
Good.
You drive by the billboards around town, and they've got the Mega Millions and the Powerball up, and it just says 999 because it does not have the billion.
That means it's a lot.
1.8 billion, 39 different tries over 3 months, and we did not have a winner until last night. And here's even more. In the state of California, and the ticket was purchased in Los Angeles, it was just one ticket.
Oh.
Yep.
So think about the California taxes.
Gives you hope, though.
1.8 billion.
Whose NIL's hitting them up first?
What would that come to now with the taxes?
A lot of money.
1.8? Yeah, it's still
a lot of money.
Well to do.
Where you'd still go ahead and say, yeah, I'll take that.
Probably about 650 million.
I'll take it all.
And I want to know the story. If I was the guy, I would not. And I don't think you have to be public. I think you can do it privately nowadays.
Is that a state law thing, though, where certain states will kind of protect your anonymity and others don't? I thought that was kind of a state-by-state case.
They'll find out who they are.
Well, California, the Democratic state, very liberal, probably not. They'll probably just pop you out there. No, I would want to keep it quiet.
Yeah.
First of all, you would spend some time getting ducks in order. Make sure you got no skeletons in the closet.
Right.
Make sure there's no relative that you bumped into when you were 2 years old that says, "Remember me? Remember I gave you a 5 spot."
I have how many siblings?
That is interest now. Yeah. Now, but
it's accrued.
One guy won it. But here in town, I saw in the morning news. So somebody in Bellevue, I mean, talk about collective NIL. They could fund Bellevue West NIL.
Okay.
Somebody won $100,000 at the Quick stop there on 25th in Bellevue.
Nice.
So they probably stopped in. They were just driving by. They got a little gas. They're like, you know what? I'll take a flyer. And they won $100K. And they only missed. I think they got 4 numbers. They got the Powerball, so they were only off by a couple.
Damn.
We could have had a billionaire here in Bellevue.
Is that considered to be more frustrating if you get just the single ticket? You're not doing like the whole group thing, or does it give you hope?
For the next time?
Yeah, for the next time. Does it make you think, hey, it's happened once before?
There are a lot of big jackpot winners.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about that person the next time. I'm talking about
just greedy.
I'm just talking about the.
I got close. I had a great strategy. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go wait till you see my next time.
Yeah. I picked it right at 2:43 in the afternoon. That's a good time. There's a stat out there that says most of these things are picked in the afternoon as opposed to the evening. No, like for just the regular, average, ordinary Joe out there where you're like, yeah, what are the chances if we don't like pool it together with like a group or like family or with like coworkers that obviously you're increasing your chances. Now there's hope that I can just go in, grab a single ticket and just hope that today will be or whatever will be my lucky day.
My strategy is to go the opposite way. I'm not going to win, but you know what? Here's a nice little donation. I imagine the person stopped for a little gas, so they stopped in and, maybe they're
what did they purchase?
A worker, 9 to 5er, or the construction guy. They stopped in to get a 6-pack on the way home, and they're like, you know what? Throw in some Powerball tickets, and now in Bellevue, you are $100,000 richer. And we'll see if we know that person.
Does Bellevue University have a collective?
I do not think so.
Okay, you can start one.
Maybe this person is a Nebraska fan.
It could be.
It could help out 1890.
Hey, good morning.
You got some Bellevue kids that are going to be making their way over there.
Is there. All right, 22 past the hour. Welcome in. We're often rolling on a Thursday, the 20th of July. Football season now, 6 weeks from today. Nebraska gets ready to take on Minnesota. 6 weeks from today. Crazy how we keep knocking off all these days. We just get up the next morning, we knock off a day. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
6 weeks. We're 6 weeks from the start of the football season. Just wrap your arms around that. Like camps are underway in the NFL. Nebraska's first day of practice is the 31st. If you are playing week 0, you are about to start practice. High school football practice gets underway early. And for all of the youngins out there, you'll be going back to school.
Yep.
What has happened to the summer around here?
Next door neighbor's a teacher, and they're telling us when they report, it's like in a little more than a week.
So they're going to go. They're going to Bender this weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm convinced nobody gets after it harder than teachers.
I know that for a fact.
The winter break. Well, yeah, and going into the summer break.
I have friends.
Oh, I thought he said no one gets after it harder, and you said I know.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
Yeah. Me, far from it, but
okay.
My teacher friends, yes, have at it.
Yeah, they do, and they should. You got to deal with a lot.
Great weekend, warm.
You deal with a lot. But, so that means practices are starting, and then you'll get into, gosh, what is it? The 20 like is it 21st, 22nd? Is that right for the first high school football game?
The 24th of August.
4th, okay.
Against Southeast, Oakland South on the C-Dub. We'll see you. LSU Rob says, I go to that gas station every day working at the base. As Shaggy says, wasn't me.
Sorry, Rob.
Maybe we'll be somebody that works at Offutt.
Could be.
Good story.
If there's a lot of people from the base that go there.
But if you stopped at that quick stop there on 25th, you are $100,000 richer. You're just not $1.8 billion richer as the one person in California won. Do you think they were aware of it? Do you think they stayed up to watch, or it's just I always buy tickets,
I'll check,
and then I check them in the morning when I get to work, or I'll watch the news or listen to the radio, and the radio station still give the lottery?
I don't think so. No. I don't believe they do.
Full service radio stations that give you your lunch menu, your funeral arrangements, or your
closures,
obituaries, your closures, and your lottery numbers.
Should that be a new segment on the show?
God bless them.
I think there's one part of that I would like.
I'm thinking if you bought the one, if you just bought one single ticket, you're rolling the dice like, hey, you know what? Why not? Who knows? I would almost assume they didn't stay up.
So then they go to work? They're like, I don't want any suspicion.
Yeah. I feel like if you invested, like, again, if you did like sort of a pool with family or friends or coworkers, chances are one of you stayed up to see. But if you're just a lone wolf, I bet you didn't even stay up because you probably figured,
that would be me.
Can you imagine waking up to that? Just checking like, hey, let's see.
Again, I wouldn't tell anybody.
No.
I would keep that as quiet as possible. And just, I hope you have a lawyer. Get a lawyer or get somebody that advises you.
The household would be kind of loud that morning.
We'd
I
go
don't-
make coffee.
I don't know. Would you even tell people around you?
Like my wife?
Because loose lips would say another. And you just.
I'd let my wife know.
You play coy all day knowing that you just won the
Now, see,
$1.8 billion jackpot.
That would be kind of fun to sort of. Now I say that, but if I saw that and that type of money, I don't think I could contain myself. But it would be pretty damn funny, like all day long, to just go about your day knowing that you won and you not telling your wife, or if you have a son or daughter that can comprehend that.
You bought a pair of shoes? Well, yeah,
you
figure we got some money.
You start
coming
making
in.
some subtle purchases. Maybe you go a little nuts on Amazon. Maybe you have 2 or 3 purchases on Amazon. Nothing crazy, but all of a sudden
we're springing for an appetizer today.
Well, yeah, and it leads to the conversation of do we really need this? Funny you should ask me that question, because
Well, yeah, so I'd like some spinach artichoke.
I think, given our current financial state, and then you start getting into the weeds of that and you start having that conversation, which is not always the most comfortable conversation. Like, well, I do think we need to throw something into our savings account. So that $1.8 billion that we just won this morning, I think we need to fyou what we want to do with that, and then just get them. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Maybe
have gender reveals. You have something along those lines to reveal that you have won the Powerball.
A green balloon, like
it's got a number.
For people out there that did not win, and it's okay. I mean, there's a lot of us that are losers. Okay, it's about failing.
Yeah.
It's how you deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You go right back out there, and
That's
for
right.
Saturday's drawing, you buy another ticket.
That's right.
You're just not going to have the opportunity to win $1.8 billion. But
and I'll be winners.
Whether you are a winner or a loser today, it is a huge day if you are a Washington Commanders fan.
Oh,
because today
is this it?
Yep, this is the last day that Dan Snyder will own the Washington Commanders.
Shout out John Schreiner. Good morning.
This is a big day. You got a guy that appears to be an adult. Oh, I think you celebrate, you remember the good days, and you burn everything that Dan Snyder has touched in the District of Columbia.
You go to work dressed as one of the Hogettes. You won't be the only one.
For that fan base that has, I mean, they're loyal and they've had success, but it's fleeting.
Yep.
Long time ago. I think this is any Redskins / football team Commanders fan, this is like a huge day for them. I think this is a big day for the NFL.
Yeah. Hail to the team.
The NFL could not run away from Dan Snyder fast enough. They like to hang around with him for a while, but today is a good day in the NFL. All right, let me give you the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. Steve Sipple will stop by coming up in about 2 hours. 1 week from today is Nebraska's availability at Media Day. As the Big Ten Media Days get underway next week in Indianapolis. You got the SEC Media Days wrapping up today. The Pac-12 Media Days are getting started. Who else is going on? And ACC is next week as well.
Next week, yeah.
The Big Ten must be the last one. Because maybe the ACC goes early.
Yeah, I think they're early next week. Excuse me, early next week, yeah.
But the SEC's 4-day fun time in Nashville. I saw a lot of guys that I know that I follow on Twitter. Man, we are so stodgy in the Big Ten. We are
Good
so
word.
set in our ways. Like they're showing the SEC guys, they have like karaoke, media karaoke. They have a concert in the streets of Nashville. Oh, we're doing it in Indianapolis.
You got a luncheon.
We're going to Lucas Oil, so we don't even have a luncheon.
No, oh, that's right. That now that it's out of Chicago, no luncheon anymore.
Yeah, the SEC knows how to promote themselves. That's the thing.
Mhm.
I'm intrigued by the hiring of Tony Petitti as their commissioner. Man, they need to stop acting like the Big Ten of the 1980s.
Everyone in lockstep.
And start acting like the Big Ten, which has a big voice and a big checkbook and some big brands. They need to start acting like that. Hopefully in 2023. If I get Petitti on the side, I'm going to say, this is what you need to do. You need to stop acting like 1980. We're not in the 80s anymore, even though there's some great moments of the 80s. But Woody and Bo are no longer here. I mean, now we got Ryan and we got Jim, we got Luke, we got Matt, we got a guy named PJ. I don't know how long we'll have a guy named Kirk. Need to start acting like Big Ten football in 2023. But the SEC guys are having fun.
I think like what would be like sort of the come out of the shell type of event for Big Ten Media Days? I mean, is it, just doing some type of little concert, like a karaoke jam would be pretty cool.
Perhaps that can be a segment next week.
Announcing a preseason poll.
Oh, that's right. Something as simple as that.
Because I think the SEC announces their preseason poll today, which Alabama has been the favorite for 7 straight years.
Or have a legitimate all preseason team.
Yeah. And here's the thing. There has been one guy that has done that. Doug Lesmarie from the Cleveland Plain Dealer has done that. He's leaving. Friday's his last day. So I don't know if on the way out he publishes
Hopefully
the preseason poll, which is really the only media poll that is involved with the Big Ten.
What the hell will we do?
Yeah, now he's leaving the newspaper business.
Oh, hopefully that got passed down. Hopefully in the transition, that was part of the transition plan. So that's a big deal.
So when Sip joins us, we'll talk about what to look forward to next week. Matt Rule will be there. Ethan Piper will be there. Jeff Sims will be there. And Luke Reimer will all be there. Plus, Brian Edwards stops by. We'll talk more win totals. Maybe we'll get a thought or two. His football coach spoke in Nashville yesterday.
As did Nick Saban, too.
Not a lot of enthusiasm out of Billy Napier. Not a lot of humor. I don't know if you yuck it up when you were 6-7 last year and your win total is 5.5. I don't know if you show up in your second SEC Media Days and yuck it up. Go, hey, Pat Dooley, how you doing over there?
Bing bang ball.
Good to see you. All right, man. I remember the days when Ben Volen was covering the Gators with Urban Meyer, and now he's up in New England. Gosh, wouldn't it be great to have Ben here? But he did say something that I thought was kind of refreshing, but it leaves you on a limb when you start talking about your first year.
Why didn't Billy Napier just go the Brent Venables route? Just, if in doubt, if you feel like you're in a bit of a corner,
go at Prime.
Your fan base, you go at Prime, you go at Cristobal, you start pointing fingers at other people, how they're doing things.
You know what I like, though? He pointed fingers at himself.
You mean the thumb?
I know there was a guy, there's a player in the SEC that has 6 fingers, so I'm not sure where we're at with that. What was the name of the Cubs pitcher that had 5 fingers?
Oh, yeah. Antonio Alfonseca.
Alfonseca.
Right.
Oh, yes, that's right. He had that.
Nice
job, very. Now, what was
he
it?
Had 5 fingers. So there's a guy they showed yesterday that plays football in the SEC, and I can't remember his name. He's not one of the headliner guys. He has 6 fingers.
Just means more.
Be tough to get a glove.
It would be. That'd be a custom job.
Well, I think it'd be more than a custom job because no one's going to believe you. Hey, we need a receiver gloves. Oh, no problem. I got
XLs.
We got a guy that has 6 fingers. Mm-hmm. No, you don't. Well, we only make 5-finger gloves. Can he cut one off? But Billy Napier.
NIL opportunities with surgeons.
Would he be interested in possibly removing that one? It'd work out best for everyone, I think.
I'm going to tell you, here's the way you guys can save money. Just lop one off of one of the digits.
Just saying, these custom gloves are not cheap. I don't know if you guys want to go down that route.
I was thinking about this of coaches, and like Venables' approach, and I felt a lot of Scott Frost when you get squeezed, when you've been successful and you get squeezed in that moment where all eyes are on you and there's a lot of people doubting you. When leading up to that point, a lot of people hadn't doubted Brent Venables. Brent Venables was on a roll, working with Dabo Swinney at Clemson.
Great hire.
Yeah, he was the next guy. How come he doesn't take a job? He doesn't take that job. He's got this great deal in Clemson.
And this is why.
And then he gets in the spotlight and they go 6-7. He likes to tell you about the 1-score losses, but I'm going to tell you, they got beat 49-0 by Texas and they got beat by 31 against TCU. It was not all, rainbows and butterflies. But when somebody is in the spotlight and they've had success and all of a sudden they start to get squeezed, you start to lash out at Mario Cristobal or Deion Sanders. And you say things that are really like out of your lane. And so when Venables last week was going through it and taking cracks at how 6-7 is not always created equal with everybody, or the roster assembly that's going on in Boulder, which I'm on Team Deion on that discussion because he inherited a 1-win team. You inherited an 11-win team. Scott, when he got squeezed a little bit, started to say things that you went, what? Because the spotlight was on him. Napier yesterday, and again, you either this is refreshing or you put yourself out there. He basically said, we weren't very good. We were bad. We were not very good, and we had questions going in, and we didn't answer them. So he was like honest, but as a coach, is honesty in that setting when you're coming off a 6-7 season When you say, yeah, we weren't very good. I wasn't very good. The team wasn't very good. Do you set yourself up for people to go, man, you're in trouble? Or do you get people that go, and that's why I brought this up with Brian Edwards joining us later, a diehard Gator fan. You go, man, you know what? Good on you, coach. That's some perspective. I'm with you. By the way, you've added some good recruiting momentum, so I'll hang around for a little bit with you.
I think a lot of it is the second part. I think it's the latter. Now, depending on if you do go that route and you start kind of getting into some of the details, and if you have a very good memory of remembering back in the previous season where the things you're bringing up all of a sudden that were really bad, but you were talking about during the season that you didn't show much passion or much concern about, well, okay, maybe then there's a little bit of a red flag. But all in all, and given our previous experience, when you do have somebody that no matter what the result, no matter what our eyes are telling us on the field, you have the leader of that program that's telling you, hey, we are right there. It's ready to pop. Like, we're right there. And you want to believe that, especially early on, but then you're thinking, are my eyes really that bad? Because what I'm watching does not show me that we're anywhere close. Because I always think whether you're lashing out and kind of pointing at other people's mishaps or things that you don't agree with, it's a defense mechanism. When we're talking about kind of the Brent Venables way. So what Billy Napier is doing, I think is actually smart. Whether it's completely sincere, I think more than anything, it's a smart way to go about it, because you're at least showing your fan base, yeah, I know I'm hearing you guys, that wasn't acceptable, but you're also showing your players and your staff, we're holding ourselves accountable too. That wasn't good. And that's not a standard we're going to. So I think all in all, that's probably the way to go. I can appreciate that much more than trying to convince yourself, you know what, I get it. It looked like this last year, but here's the great stuff that we were able to find in the offseason where we're that close. And man, an inch here or there, boy, I'm telling you, this is a different looking season. Because then you almost sound like an insane person.
He said I made mistakes. I was like, okay.
And I appreciate that.
Okay. But now you're setting yourself up for year two and the expectations, because I'm going to get into this a little bit later about Nebraska, because Nick Saban was fabulous yesterday, and he always is. I mean, whether you like Saban, you dislike Alabama, whatever. When Saban talks, he makes a lot of sense. And he talked about expectations yesterday, because that's going to be a hot word around here with Matt Rule next week is, okay, what are the expectations? Well, there's a difference between expectations and the standard.
Mm-hmm.
So there used to be a standard at Florida when Urban Meyer was winning championships. You didn't talk about expectations because you didn't need to, because there was just a standard. And every year that you rolled out the football, there was a standard. Now that standard has taken a step back, and now you have to talk about, well, what are the expectations? There's certain programs that have achieved, like Alabama doesn't talk about expectations. They just talk about a standard they have as a football program. And I appreciated Saban talking about what expectations do in a predetermined world. But with Billy Napier, now your expectations for year two, by saying I made mistakes, have you lowered them? Have you kept them the same? Have you put yourself, right in the bullseye? Because they have had a surge in recruiting. But at the end of the day, in Florida, they're not going to get anywhere with Georgia's, their chief rival doing what they're doing. And then they're just bludgeoning them when they play, 76-27 in the last 2 years. So we'll talk more about what happened in Nashville, because college football talking season is here. No Dion on Friday at the Pac-12 Media Days. But they will have maybe a TV deal.
Now.
After 339 days of talking about, are we going to have a TV deal? They may have a TV deal with the Pac-12.
So then does San Diego State jump back again?
Yeah, I think they're good. I think they've had an interesting 24 to 36 hours staying in the Mountain West.
They took their
a lot of egg on their face.
They took their whooping.
That's the lineup brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard, off and running. Christo Lamprecht has a 2-shot lead over Stuart Sink.
Amateur.
66. Yeah, it's, you know what? The A,
cool
next to the leaders has had a nice little run this year.
That's a absolute. The Masters.
Oh yeah, our guy from Texas A&M.
Why am I completely just blanking on?
Because he's an amateur, and you don't like amateur golfers.
That's what it is. But yeah, I mean, it's always a cool story, even if it's for today. Even if you're hanging on top of Bennett, thank you.
No relation to Stetson.
Nope.
Sam is actually about to finish school.
And then Sam had
don't do it.
He had an event the following week too, after Augusta.
Well,
or that Monday actually.
Well, he was the first amateur to finish in the top 20 since 05 at Augusta. and now you have an amateur that is leading the Open.
Yeah, how about that?
Off and running. There's Nick Jimmy. I'm Garrett. Jimmy will have an update coming up in the next hour. After a day of explosive baseball, there were 0 games yesterday where somebody scored 10 runs. But what remained the same is the Yankees are in a world of hurt. All right, 41 past the hour. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, you can watch the British Open. You can watch all your Major League Baseball and everything going on at DJ's Dugout. 7 convenient metro locations, so there's one right in your neighborhood. And as everything's wrapping up, seeing all those Legion baseball seasons are wrapping up, and congrats to all you state qualifiers. Well, celebrate the season over at DJ's Dugout, one in your neighborhood, again, with great daily food and drink specials like tonight. $11.99 steak dinner for you Thursday. Also, one of my favorites, Captain Morgan specials going on at DJ's Dugout, and always the capacity to accommodate every party that you might have, and you check out anything you're looking for when it comes to sports viewing on their amazing media walls. They are locally in Vietnam, veteran-owned DJ's Dugout. Dig in at the Dugout.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. It is July, which means the countdown is on for the 6th annual 4-person Golf Flash Scramble. Go to their website today, miraclehillgolf.com/store, and get signed up. You do not want to miss it. Coming up Friday, August the 4th, it'll be a 1-beer Friday, 12 o'clock shotgun start, only $320 per team. Again, sign up today at that website, miraclehillgolf.com.
You get more with Murphy Tractor. We'll help you choose the right John Deere construction piece of equipment, performance tier, attachments, tech package, and financing options to fine-tune your fleet. Each of our 29 locations has a diverse lineup of new, used, and rental equipment, along with a wide variety of parts inventory and experienced service technicians. Give us a call at 855-246-9124 or visit us online at murphytractor.com.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Kops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Kops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click copspizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Shop end-of-season deals during the truckload event at Lowe's. Right now, save on major appliances and get an additional 10% off in-store clearance appliances. Plus, take up to 50% off select patio furniture and accessories, and save on select grills and outdoor power equipment. Great deals are happening now, in-store and online. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 7/26. Exclusions apply. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Let us talk about the 3 most surprising things about modern LASIK at Kugler Vision. The first, how fast that LASIK procedure is. With Kugler Vision's leading edge technology, we're talking just a few minutes per eye. Incredibly speedy. And how about this for number 2? How comfortable the procedure is. So often from their patients, they hear, wait, that's it? It's over? They make sure that you're relaxed and comfortable. What is happening? Quickly, you can get back to normal life. Drive themselves to Kugler Vision the very next day for their follow-up visit. So you're back in action less than 24 hours later. Kugler Vision right now, they have special pre-summer savings on modern LASIK or any of their other advanced vision correction procedures. If you've ever thought about fixing your bad vision, the Kugler Vision eye analysis is your first step. Do so today. Schedule one online at kuglervision.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, Christo Lamprecht, 5 under. He has a 2-shot lead over Stuart Sink. Jordan Spieth is playing well again. He is 1 under through 9, so he is 55 under par at the Open since 2015. That 2017 run at the Open for Spieth was unbelievable.
At Birkdale, yeah. Remember the shot from the driving range on that final day that took forever for him to figure out what to do, and then when he hits it, he thinks he had a mishit. Turns out it's just short of the green. Ends up bogeying, but that's kind of what got him going. That between him and Cooch, it's not like Matt Kuchar is one of those guys where you're like, just invoke something. And yeah, like Kuchar seems like the tour nice guy, other than maybe having a really poor tip experience one time when he was in Mexico and tipping his caddy. But seems like the tour nice guy. So it wasn't like one of those things like, oh, this is a rival and stuff. But those two back and forth that day, because they were kind of matching each other. And then Spieth was just hitting ridiculous shot after ridiculous shot before he pulled away. That was like one of the really cool, like down the stretch opens on a Sunday that I can remember.
So the weather is nice if you are wondering, but it's supposed to change tomorrow.
Let's go bad weather.
We cheer for the course in bad weather.
We do.
That's why I like this tournament.
Chaos.
I'm like,
it's chaos, man.
Pro Jim Cantori, Al Roker.
Gets me ready for football.
R.I.P. Willard Scott.
You want to see the guys in the rain gear playing in the rain gear for the majority of the tournament.
Who's the other? Ginger Z.
Yeah, Ginger Z, ABC.
Am I missing any other national weather people?
I think you got them.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I'm familiar with.
Okay. Quick note, if you are interested in going to see Nebraska play 6 weeks from today, whatever is left over, Minnesota single game tickets go on sale at 9 a.m.
Hey.
There's my public service announcement.
Do
what you will with that.
It's a gold out. It's a gold out, folks.
It's a gold out, and I will say there will at least be 20, at minimum, 20,000 Nebraska fans will be in Minneapolis 6 weeks from tonight.
Like the old Chiefs looking.
Maybe Michigan Lance will be there. Instead, he's joining us right now on the 42-degree hotline. Good morning, my friend.
Hey, good morning, boys. How you doing?
Good.
Man, hey, Colorado just keeps on winning, don't they? Like, you got people, you got a team in another conference, the Big 12, that's about to go to the SEC, talking about your school and your coach, and they ain't have to do anything. Like, just hire a guy, and man, that's I don't understand. Coaches don't understand. Like, yeah, you're bringing light to somebody else. And like, you're just bringing them publicity, man. You're helping them. You're not hurting them by saying that. Like, that's crazy.
Well, it's, he's a target, but in this case, Brent Venables is way off base.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders inherited a 1-win team, and he went about roster assembly. Probably really the only person in college football that could do that because of, how many other coaches in college football are, and in their first year as an FBS coach, are as attractive as Deion is to somebody that's looking for a second home. So Venables going after them, and I agree with you. When you got to fix your house first before you start talking about anybody else. And Venables was completely off base, and he's getting the pushback that I expected. It's one of the rare times I think people stood up and go like, no, Deion's in the right here. Why are you going after Deion?
Yeah, and you know, man, when people get the hot coordinator, and you know that seat, man, that head coaching seat is not the same as a coordinator. It's not the same as a position coach.
Yep.
And a lot of people miss on that because they're going for the hot next thing and not looking at the work. Deion Sanders wasn't the hot next thing. Look at the work and that he grinded, that he put in from little league all the way up to college. You know what I mean? It's not like he's been a coach, and timing is everything. And then the Big 12, what is the Big 12 going to be like? A glorified MAC team, not MAC team. What's the MWC? Is it MWC? What is the
Mountain West Conference?
What's the conference?
AAC?
Yeah, Mountain West. Yeah, they're just going to be a glorified Mountain West Conference. Like, I don't know, what is West Coast football and the Pac-12. Like, what's going to happen with these conferences?
The Big 12 will be the best basketball conference in America with competitive with competitive football.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you think they're going that route? You think they're going to Big East, the basketball?
Number
one deal.
You've got a commissioner who's a basketball guy, and you've also got the programs that are left around. I mean, you got Baylor and KU who have most recently won national championships. You're adding Houston, which has been knocking on the door of the Final Four and has been there recently.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, they're going to, football pays the bills, but basketball will draw the most attention in the Big 12 moving forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's going to drive them. So okay, and then hey, Napier, hey man, it's okay. Like, how about self-awareness? Like, we talk about people that lack self-awareness. Hey man, he has some. Nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We want people to be honest and give us good takes of. I mean, he gave us that, and so at least he acknowledges it and sees it and knows it, and I'm sure he's doing something to correct it. You know, my son went to their football camp a couple weeks ago, man, and they run a good camp. I'll tell you that. I was impressed by it. Like, I didn't know what to expect.
Let me ask you. It
was really good.
For other parents out there, what made it a good camp?
Oh, they were organized. Number one, they were organized, because I heard of another school up the street in Tallahassee that wasn't very good, but we're going to check them out next year. In Florida State, I heard that wasn't well organized and well ran. So number one, it was organized. Number two, the coaches, right? So the coaching staff that are running the drills, whether they're GAs, position coaches, or whatever, you know what I mean, whatever they are to the team, they actually run the drills like they're running practice. They're not giving you half effort on coaching you up. So that's number two. And then number three, I would say, the head coach is engaged and involved. Now, he doesn't have to be there coaching positions and this all day, but he comes around for a good amount of time, walks around, talks to the kids for a good amount of time at the end. So it was really good. Friday Night Lights, we went to Friday Night Lights and the regular day camp. Friday Night Lights had a little bit more pageantry with former players, Anthony Richardson, and some of the former players that just got drafted were there, and they did highlight films of them, and that was a little bit more pageantry, but they didn't lack on being organized and the coaching up of players. So they still gave that intensity. So that's what you want to get out of a camp, and then eventually, then you play on the field. Hopefully, you get looked and invited back. But yeah, man, that's about it. So I think I haven't got too much in the Napier. They got a kid from where my son goes to school at now. He's a running back there now. He went in the spring early entry. We'll see. Like you said, he's recruited well. We'll see if he's on the right track. Florida's one of those teams that, college football is better when they're good. So we'll see what happens.
Lance, appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Hey, thanks, fella.
That is what he was laying out about the camp in Gainesville. You heard that about Nebraska's camp this year, is that the head coach was present. The position coaches ran like they were working with, 18 to 22-year-old guys that were playing for them. I remember when I was a little kid, I went to a basketball camp in Des Moines. Actually, it was at Drake. And the head coach showed up the opening day to do like the invite and introduce everybody. And it was a 3-day day camp. The next time I saw the head coach, and he was pretty successful at the time, was when they handed out awards.
Yeah.
Did not see the head coach the rest of the time.
Just come on
So
in. Yeah.
And it was like his name was on the camp.
Yeah. Oh, and so the same thing at Kansas. Had some friends who went to the Roy Williams one, and kind of a similar thing. Like Roy's there to welcome everybody, and then at the very end, he's there to sort of thank you, say
Take a
goodbye.
picture.
And anybody who's done the Danny Nee one, you'll have to tell me. I can't remember. I thought I'd heard Danny
get a
Nee
tie?
was. You should.
Those are
And
slick.
I think he was like very active, if I remember correctly. Like he was present every day, and he was participating in drills and you know, and if you would think to yourself, like, okay, what does that have to do with like the product at the collegiate level? I just think if you kind of, it's that whole, like you sort of take pride in the little details like that. And you never know the type of impression you might leave on like a future contributor to your program, because you're showing them that you will even grind through those types of moments in the summer. Where,
look at it, you're talking about it right now, all these years later.
You do, and I think a lot of those campers remember the ones who are probably present like every day and every moment, as opposed to, oh yeah, he was here for a little bit. We got to shake hands, got to take our obligatory picture with them because it was promised in the brochure, and that's what part of our fee went to. And we got our shirt, and that's all I saw of them, as opposed to the ones like, man, this guy's a really good coach, yet he was like even involved in the drills, and like he was there at like the entire camp.
You're
like
a fan
that,
for life.
I think that is kind of rare, but it also, I think, gives you an idea of how they just kind of run their program from top all the way to the youngest of developmental and impression stages.
I just remember my mom was upset because the coach's name was on the camp and he was there twice. It was a good camp. I mean, my buddies were there, and I was like nine years old. Gary Grainer.
Okay.
Or Gary Garner. Not
Grainer?
Not Gary Grainer.
Formerly
Burke. Gary Garner.
Wow, I had no idea he went from Drake to
head coach at Drake at the time.
Man.
Yeah. So he showed up. He introduced everybody. He was really successful.
Yeah.
So, people were excited. There was I remember it was a large camp. I had a lot of my buddies that I went to grade school with. And then he was back. He came back at noon when we were eating lunch to get out of there. And so then he stood up and he said, all right, time for awards.
I got a thing.
But his name was on the camp. I just remember my mom was like, oh, we were probably paying $75 or something like that. She's like, that just seems wrong.
Well,
I'm like, Mom, go tell him.
You pay for the T-shirt and the picture usually is what you pay for.
All right, 58 past the hour. Steve Sipple a little bit later, Brian Edwards as well. And we'll keep you updated on the Open that's going on across the pond, where Scheffler, Rahm, and Koepka, who are my trio of always a threat. Every weekend when people go, well, who do you think's going to win? Well, are Scheffler, Rahm, and Koepka in the field? Well, they're always a threat.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody else in that threesome.
No. Wait, what? Yeah, it's a threesome.
Yeah, because there's three guys. What were you thinking?
Wow, if you're just turning on the radio right now, it's like, whoa, I missed the first hour of the show.
I thought you were talking about like in that upper echelon of people, but when you're talking about that threesome itself, and you mentioned
I don't know what your lifestyle is.
Threesome's
your
a threesome.
neighborhood. This is an MMM.
A threesome's a threesome. Okay. You start adding
A
other
win's a
people
win?
It complicates things.
Okay.
Just saying.
Not all threesomes are created equal. Not everybody can be the triplets. Not everybody is Gil, Rozier, and Fryer.
Oh, so now we're going that threesome then. Okay.
Well, I don't know where you're going.
I don't really
It's not
either.
even 7 o'clock yet.
I know.
I'm just trying to keep it above board.
I got to
because usually it starts to wobble about
trying to
7:30.
run the ball. Probably good
And you got
thing-
to remember we have Sipple on.
Probably good thing I'm getting out of here then.
We're back hour number 2 after this.
Hey, get out to Woodhouse Mazda, and again, with that great SUV lineup, you need to check out the CX-30 Carbon Edition today. Now, this is a little bit more of the smaller SUV, but it does have plenty of room to fit whatever family size you have, all your cargo, but also great features like red leather trim seats, heated black side mirror, and the black wheels giving you that really tough look. Standard iActive all-wheel drive, 26 city and 33 highway miles per gallon, and an enhanced performance with increased 191 horsepower. You can also stay connected to your vehicle with your smartphone and even remotely start it with the My Mazda app that comes free with the Mazda CX-30 Carbon Edition. It's now available at Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or Woodhouse Place Mazda off 144th and Giles Road. Shop today during the Season of Discovery event, which gets you $500 rebate plus 2.9% APR for 36 months or 4.9% APR for 60 months. You can shop, finance, schedule a test drive, get your deal started online in the convenience of your own home. You can even have your car delivered, check vehicle availability, and so much more by going to WoodhouseMazda.com or WoodhousePlaceMazda.com. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing with approved credit, tax title license extra when financed with Mazda Financial. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 7/31/23. See dealer for details.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown near 36th and L. On Center, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near 168th. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery announces that $3 bingo is back. Visit a Nebraska Lottery retailer soon and play everyone's favorite $3 10 times bingo scratch game with a $35,000 top prize. 10 times bingo top prize odds, 1 in 600,000.
The cigar enthusiasts at Hearth Cigars and Pipes are a pretty diverse bunch of humans. Some enjoy an adult beverage or two, others pass the time with a competitive yet friendly game of dominoes. Still others enjoy shooting some pool downstairs, while more than a few are just satisfied with each other's company. The common thread with all of them is the awesomeness that is their favorite cigar from the humidor. Hearth Cigars and Pipes, just off the 48th Street exit from I-680 at the corner of Mormon Bridge Road and McKinley, and at hearthcigars.com.
Ever walk through a door and see all the trucks? Yeah, it's kind of like that at Gretna Auto Outlet. Half-ton trucks, three-quarter-ton trucks, dualies, gas or diesel. Gretna Auto Outlet will be happy to show it to you. They don't call it truck heaven for nothing, you know. Stop in the climate-controlled comfort of the indoor showroom or online with the virtual showroom at GretnaAuto.com. Gretna Auto Outlet, open Sundays too, just north of Nebraska Crossing on Highway 6 in Gretna.
Catch all the fun at Warner Park this summer. The Omaha Storm Chaser season is packed with promotions, entertainment, and giveaways. Don't miss the magnet schedule, runs a reversible bucket hat, black O-Bolt replica jersey, Vinny Pasquantino bobblehead, and throwback fanny pack giveaways. Mark your calendar for dates and details. Get your tickets today at OmahaStormChasers.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet to run. Fun with family.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Hey folks, is your concrete in need of repair? Kent Pavelka here to talk about your local concrete experts and a best of Omaha winner, Everlevel Concrete Repair. They can completely restore and repair your concrete at a fraction of the price compared to replacement and offer long-term transferable warranties. I'm so glad I chose Everlevel for my driveway. There's a reason they're our best of Omaha winner. Give them a call for your free inspection. That's Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Come visit Omaha's own little corner of France, Les Voltaire, for mouth-watering appetizers and entrees, plus melt-in-your-mouth desserts and an extensive brunch menu on Sundays from 10 to 2. Dinner or brunch with friends, for a special occasion, entertaining clients, or just chilling with French wines with your favorite someone. Les Voltaire will make you feel right at home. Reserve their private party room today for birthdays, rehearsal dinners, and retirement parties. Les Voltaire, just off 156th and West Dodge Road in Pepperwood Village, and at lesvoltaireomaha.com.
Do you have big plans for your business? Get access and get growing. If you need a commercial loan or line of credit, the experts at Access Bank can help. Learn how today at accessbank.com. That's accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Let us talk about the 3 most surprising things about modern LASIK at Kugler Vision. The first, how fast that LASIK procedure is. With Kugler Vision's leading-edge technology, we're talking just a few minutes per eye. Incredibly speedy. And how about this for number 2? How comfortable the procedure is. So often from their patients, they hear, wait, that's it? It's over? They make sure that you're relaxed and comfortable, as well as knowing exactly what is happening. And this for number 3, how quickly you can get back to normal life. Patients typically drive themselves to Kugler Vision the very next day for their follow-up visit. So you're back in action less than 24 hours later. Kugler Vision right now, they have special pre-summer savings on modern LASIK or any of their other advanced vision correction procedures. If you've ever thought about fixing your bad vision, the Kugler Vision Eye Analysis is your first step. Do so today. Schedule one online at KuglerVision.com.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620, The Zone.
All right, hour number 2, Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Nick is the MC at the Special Olympics breakfast this morning. So it'll be yours truly and Jimmy the rest of the way. I'm not afraid to admit, yesterday, Jimmy, National Hot Dog Day. Did you celebrate in kind?
We did, and it was more coincidence than anything. Yeah.
On your own, or did you stop at a place to get a hot dog?
No, I didn't
Not a
stop
lot
at a
of-
place. We had some that we needed to cook, so we threw those on the grill.
There's not really any like hot dog stands.
Yeah.
This isn't Chicago. This isn't New York, where you go and you have a vendor on the street, or we're
A little
known
cart.
we're known for hot dogs. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm very comfortable in my skin, as you can see. I put ketchup on a hot dog yesterday to celebrate National Hot Dog Day. You can slander me, you can do whatever you want towards me, but just know that more people put ketchup on their hot dog than you realize. And even though you are outspoken about it, I bet you put ketchup on your hot dog as well. It's okay. It's okay. I would be able to go in Chicago and put ketchup on my hot dog, even though those are the biggest hot dog snobs in all of America. People still put ketchup on their hot dogs in Chicago.
Yeah, they get triggered when you do that there. I've seen the things. I've
I
had me a Chicago dog. It's tasty. It's a meal and a hot dog.
Well, while we're just revealing things about ketchup, I didn't know any better. Remember, I grew up in a family where Dad thought Bonanza was a good steakhouse, and Bonanza, a steak at Bonanza probably needed a lot on it to make it taste better. There was a stretch, didn't last into my 20s, where I thought ketchup and steak went well together.
Oh,
I corrected a wrong.
okay.
But I like ketchup on a hot dog, and I'm okay to admit it. I'm not gonna apologize. And yesterday I had ketchup on a hot dog.
Now we have a spicy ketchup, so I could make an exception for that, but I did not. I went with mustard and dill relish.
Okay. Jimmy's got an update here in just a moment. Steve Sipple, Brian Edwards a little bit later. The Open is going on over in Liverpool. Christo Lamprecht, who is an amateur, has a 2-shot lead on Stuart Sink. Marcel Siem is also 2 back. He is from Germany with a man bun and a quite floral shirt. Big Ten Media Days begin on Wednesday. Next Wednesday and Thursday, Nebraska's contingent is there a week from today. Matt Rule will speak along with the 3 players. Connor and myself, we will be in Indianapolis live on Wednesday and Thursday. And then 6 weeks from today is when Nebraska takes on Minnesota. We'll discuss a couple of different things that will probably come out of next week that impact the Minnesota game. But we'll also answer the question before we're through this morning. Does Nebraska have a roster to compete with fill in the blank? Current roster, does Nebraska have a roster to compete with blank? That and much more as we roll till 10. But let's get an update with Jimmy here at 7:10.
And as you said, and during the last hour, single game tickets at Minnesota go on sale at 9 a.m. So if you are thinking about going and haven't gotten your tickets yet, you've been warned. Get after it. We expect
So these are the leftovers.
Yeah.
The season ticket holders, and then I guess priority single game ticket holders for Minnesota had first crack. I think minimum 6 weeks from tonight, minimum there will be 20,000 Nebraska fans that will be there.
in a
Usually
50,000 seat stadium.
there's a lot of Nebraska fans in the state of Minnesota, and usually when you've gone up there, you don't get the break of a couple of years ago where it was mid-October and the weather was actually kind of decent. This should be just a beautiful night for football. Night game. It's a holiday weekend.
Easy
A
drive.
lot of people aren't going to work on that Friday. You got a lot of stuff going on. You got North Dakota State, Eastern Washington are playing at US Bank Stadium that weekend. Leading up to it, the Twins are in town. Pearl Jam's in town. I expect that there will be a convoy because I'm hearing either people are going to go to Nebraska, Volleyball Day in Nebraska the Wednesday before and then immediately leave and drive halfway, or people will, because you think about trying to get home, there are going to be 90,000 people at a Memorial Stadium trying to get home and then get up the next morning. There will be a convoy 6 weeks from today on 80 to 35 going to Minneapolis.
Yeah. I would think that's what most people might opt for. Head out the next morning. Like I said, easy drive, games at 7 or 8 o'clock, something like that. You can get up there in plenty of time. Anyway, not the only thing going on. A pair of matchups against Elite Eight qualifiers, a neutral site matchup with the Beavers of Oregon State, and a 3-game Cornhusker Classic in Lincoln highlight next season's Nebraska ball non-conference schedule, which was officially released yesterday. The 11-game non-conference slate features a trip to Manhattan for a matchup with old friend Kansas State on December 17th. It'll be Nebraska's first trip to Bramlage since 2011. The Huskers' only other trip in non-conference play is to the Sanford Pentagon Saturday, November 18th, when they meet the aforementioned Beavers. They have 9 games at home, features the annual and much anticipated matchup with Creighton Sunday, December 3rd. Of course, you may remember, some may forget, whatever. Nebraska won last year's meeting in Omaha 63-53, was their first win in Omaha over Creighton since 2004. Nebraska's 9-game home conference games is the most, or non-conference games is the most since having 9 in the 21-22 campaign. They'll open their season with 4 straight home games, beginning with the season opener against Lindenwood, November 6th. They'll also host Florida A&M, Ryder, and Stony Brook, November 9th, 13th, and 15th. The latter two are the first 2 games of the Cornhusker Classic. The third game of the Classic will come a week later on the 22nd against Duquesne, and then they'll face Cal State Fullerton November 26th. Nebraska will close out the first part of non-conference play with the Creighton game before playing their first 2 conference games. Then they'll resume and wrap up non-conference play with the K-State game before playing host to North Dakota December 20th and South Carolina State December 29th. And you said it yesterday how that's put together. There's a reason why it's put together the way it is. You get some wins.
So Nebraska, their road games in the non-con, they will bus. So
Yeah.
they will not. It's the first time the Nebraska basketball will get on a plane to go to a basketball game will be their first Big Ten road game.
Mm-hmm.
Because combined mileage, Lincoln to Manhattan, Lincoln to Sioux Falls is about 350 miles. This is a schedule. We'll get into this a little bit later because I think there's more to the schedule from a team fan perspective. It's a schedule to set up wins.
Yeah.
Which, with bye games and only a couple of majors that you're playing, it can be a good and a bad. But that schedule is set up strictly for wins because this year wins matter. And being in a tournament that begins with an N matters as well.
And the K-State game is drivable for fans if they want to make the trip. It's not like they sell out every game down there, even with the success they've had. So it might be a nice road trip if there's places you used to frequent.
You can go say hello to Art Kaluma.
See, there you go. Yeah. December 17th. I'm not sure what day of the week that is, but I'm sure your phone will tell you if you look. Deion Sanders will miss Pac-12 Media Day due to a procedure to remove another blood clot, this in his right leg, and another to straighten toes on his left foot. The first-year Colorado coach announced his latest medical update, of course, on the gram yesterday. He's scheduled to have surgery today. Media Day for the Pac-12 is tomorrow in Las Vegas. The entire conference just groans. They were looking forward to having Prime there. The school said in a statement that Deion will return to coach in time for fall camp. A month ago, he underwent surgery for a blood clot in his leg. He struggled with his left foot since having 2 toes amputated in 2021 due to blood clot issues while at Jackson State. Sanders said in his latest post on social media that his toes will be fixed in the upcoming procedure. 2 of his toes on his left foot have been causing discomfort in his shoe. That's kind of morbid to wake up to. So let's lighten things up. Finally, state health officials late last week alerted healthcare providers to a continued rapid increase in syphilis cases in Nebraska and the nation. While national data for 2020, I know,
where are we going?
I couldn't leave that there. It was low-hanging fruit. Got to give a little local news here. While national data for 2022 is still being compiled, the country likely will exceed the most recent peak of infection rates, which occurred way back in 1990. Where were you then? That year, the nation tallied 20 cases per 100,000 residents, the highest tally since 1949, according to the Health Alert. Over the past 20 years, cases have increased from 2 per 100,000 residents to 2,000 to 16 per 100,000 in 2021. Over the past 5 years, cases in Nebraska have increased 373%. While the actual count for 2022 was not immediately available, the state tallied 255 cases in 2021, up from 156 the year before and 187 in 2019. By the way, if you're scoring at home, South Dakota has been seeing syphilis rates higher than anywhere else in the U.S.
Wow. Okay. Why?
Well, we try to inform. It's just the stuff going around.
At 7:17 in the morning, we're talking about syphilis?
Just mix up a little bit of everything for you.
All right.
Public health warning. We've done our public service telling you to buy your tickets at 9 a.m. for the game in Minnesota. We're telling you to, be careful. Wrap it up.
All right.
There's more stuff going on. We'll talk about that in the next hour.
How about that open? How about the amateur Lambert and what he has done? All right. Thanks, Jimmy. Okay, so I gotta push back here on KDH 68-760. I fancy myself as Mr. Rand McNally. It just takes me a little bit to get into a city, and I know where I'm going.
Okay.
I don't like to stop to ask for directions. I think I have a good sense of where we're going. And I've driven from Omaha to Minneapolis numerous times. People will tell me, hey, why don't you go up to Sioux Falls and go on 29 and then hit 90 and go across and pick up 35? I'm like, no, I'm good. I like my Omaha to Des Moines to straight up. Now, parts of once you get north of Ames is a little bit, but that's the way I go. This is a challenge from KDH 68-760. The pros will take I-29 to Highway 75 to 169, almost 4-lane. All right. You know what? I have no desire.
Almost 4-lane?
I have no desire to drive through small town Minnesota. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I like your route better.
75, 80, you're fine. Okay, so we're just going to disagree. And
which is like 6 hours from here?
Well, I don't want to drive through small town. I mean,
yeah. That takes up time.
Get on the super slab and we'll go. All right, maybe we'll have a race. Matt says Gandolfo's 120th and Pacific has solid hot dogs.
Okay.
I have a hard time going into a restaurant and just ordering a hot dog unless it's just hot dogs is in the name. Just a personal preference. If I'm going to get a hot dog and it's going to be outside of me cooking it or at a ballpark or a stadium, it's got to be in a cart or the name hot dog has to be on the business.
Yeah. Like it is a hot dog place. It's what they do.
I fancy myself sometimes, Jimmy, as an adult. And I just seem like when you go into a restaurant, you order a hot dog.
With some mini corn
even
dogs.
if they're known for their hot dogs. If they're known for the hot dogs, it should be in the name of the business on the front of the building. That I feel like, you know what? My inner self, I might as well get some grilled cheese as well. Maybe a little mac and cheese and some tater tots on the side. Maybe a little fruit cup.
Yeah.
And then hopefully
and
it comes
toy.
with a juice box.
Yeah. I had a friend tell me one time, what's she talking about? Red Robin? She goes, you got to try the mini corn dogs. Like, mini corn dogs? There's not mini corn dogs on the menu. And then I looked, she was telling me the kids menu. She was also 6.
Now, Matt does have, so I'll give Matt credit here because Greg chimes in right away. And he says the way that Gandolfo's makes their hot dogs is a little bit different. You should try it. All right, put it on the board. All right,
All right, I'm looking it
7:19. So there's a couple of negative storylines going into Indianapolis next week. Northwestern is one. After listening to the players that are coming forth and talking about the hazing and rationalized sex hazing, which came out yesterday, and Northwestern on the docket for next week, Northwestern cannot go to Big Ten Media Days. They would be a distraction. They should not go. I don't believe they will go. I think we will hear in the next couple of days that Northwestern has declined because keep in mind, that would be the first time that the interim head coach for the entire season will be in front of the media. And the first time that any players would talk to the media would be at Big Ten Media Days where they really can't control everything. It is a wise move for Northwestern to step aside, focus on trying to get to the start of the season and not go to Big Ten Media Days. So that is a story and it would be a distraction. Not a distraction, but something very interesting happened in Iowa City yesterday that revolves around Big Ten Media Days with Iowa football. We'll get into that. Steve Sipple joins us in about an hour. Brian Edwards as well. It's Morning with Sharp and Handley with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
If there's a snail crawling towards me inside of the Omaha NRG studio, it's not going to be any other snail. That's just the one snail.
But when Nick and I bring a bag full of snails and dump them at your feet.
I'm not working with you two yahoos anymore.
Snail pickup.
I'm not gonna work with you anymore.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy Thursday with a high today of 84 degrees in Omaha. Breezy with north-northwesterly gusts possible up to 20 miles an hour. Mostly to partly cloudy skies for your Thursday night, staying comfortable with a low of 63. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Kugler Vision makes new vision affordable with no interest payment options with approved credit at KuglerVision.com.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can't expect a bit of a slowdown near 45th and L. Then further along L, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near 90th. And on Center, it looks like there's a little bit of traffic backing up from 175th to 168th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Everyone knows Saul's pays top dollar for your gold, but Saul's pays cash on the spot for your precious metals too. Silver, gold, platinum, coins, bars. Who wants to wait to get paid? Get to Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Saul's Jewelry and Loan. You'll find it all at Saul's Jewelry.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
The time between Memorial Day and Labor Day is known as the 100 Deadliest Days. It's a time when school's out, inexperienced drivers are spending more time on the road, and fatal car crashes increase dramatically. In 2020 alone, the 100 Deadliest Days accounted for 37% of all traffic fatalities in Nebraska. Don't let distractions blind you. Focus on the basics. Watch your speed. Eliminate distractions. Never drive impaired. And always buckle up. Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office and the Nebraska chapter of the National Safety Council.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free online visit. forhims.com/radio.
Join the Salvation Army Croc Center and the Bellevue Chick-fil-A for Christmas in July. Come on out to the Chick-fil-A at Highway 75 and Cornhusker Road on Saturday, July 22nd between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. and again from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. We'll have special events throughout the day, including a visit from Santa, a balloon artist, face painters, and more. 10% of all sales will be donated back to the Croc Center. It's fun for the whole family at Christmas in July, Saturday, July 22nd at the Bellevue Chick-fil-A. We'll see you there.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, at the Open in Liverpool, Christo Lamprecht, who is the 23 amateur champion, he's 2 shots clear at the top of the leaderboard. 2-shot lead over Stuart Sink, but here comes Jordan Spieth. Spieth is 3 under through 16. Also on the front page of the leaderboard, Marcel Siem tied for second, and then Jordan and Fleetwood are 2 back, as Tommy Fleetwood is on 14. Matthew Jordan is 2 under. So here comes Spieth, who, as we were mentioning earlier, is now 56 under par in the Open since 2015. All right, welcome back in. Steve Sipple coming up in an hour. We'll chat with Sip next week in Indianapolis when the Big Ten Media Days commence in Indianapolis on Wednesday and Thursday, and then that's football season is here. Camp begins the following week. Mentioned going into the break. So as more and more things come out at Northwestern, and now it's not just football, it's not just baseball.
Oh, yeah, it's not good.
They had a cheerleading incident yesterday. Volleyball and softball were implicated, and Northwestern's going to try and figure out how to get out from all of this. A thorough investigation, I think, will eventually lead to more people that will fall in line behind Pat Fitzgerald and will lose their jobs. And it could be president, and definitely has to be the athletic director. The leadership of that athletic department is completely upside down. But Northwestern and their football program, which is going to have a season, there's no way that they can be in Indianapolis. Again, that would be the first time that they would be asked in public. You're going to put players up in front because no one's going to ask them about the upcoming season, about bouncing back from 1-11, all of the transfers you got, who's going to play quarterback. Everything will be about Pat Fitzgerald's dismissal, the hazing that was going on. And we don't know. Maybe some of the players that are going to be there for Northwestern were involved in the hazing. We don't know that. So I would think for the good of the event and the conference, and probably for the betterment of Northwestern at the time, say, we politely decline. This will be a year that we will not be in Indianapolis, and nobody's going to go, oh my gosh. We've already had our angst of, I know you're a private school, but you've had no press conference, no opportunity for a president to answer questions, or even an athletic director to answer questions.
Just hoping it'll go away. You know, if they did show up, you'd probably get 30-minute sit-downs with your Ryan Days and your Harbaughs, because all the media would be over there, and they'd be like, do you want to talk?
So, and we've noticed this with the Big 12 and the SEC. 13 football coaches in the Big 10 are going to be asked about Pat Fitzgerald.
Yeah. And you're going to have to, have your sort of canned answer of what everyone's kind of saying the same thing. Also like, please talk about anything else. Anything else.
Well, for the SEC coaches, and I don't know how many of them know Pat Fitzgerald. Like everybody in the Big 10 has dealt with Pat Fitzgerald. Either coached against him or they spend time when they do, Big 10 meetings. So you maybe see him on a different light, and you're more likely to cross paths with him on the recruiting trail. Like in the SEC, you could say the stock answer of every coach should know what's going on throughout his entire program, which is the more I hear, and especially yesterday, and another lawsuit that is coming, and Jim Phillips, the former athletic director, who's the commissioner of the ACC, has been brought in as well. I keep asking, how did Pat Fitzgerald not know any of this? any of this? If this was all going on, how could he not know any of this? But it seems like every day that goes by, it gets worse and worse for Northwestern. And at some point, they're going to try and figure out, how do we get out from underneath this? I think it's still going to be a thing. But in the SEC, coaches that are being asked, because I think Sam Pittman, when he was asked either about Ham's Beer or Northwestern yesterday, well, hey, there's KJ Jefferson, coach. Hey, Ham's Beer. And then what do you think about what's going on Northwestern? Everybody says the same stock thing is, well, coach should have his pulse of the program and he should know what's going on. Big Ten coaches may look at it differently because they know Pat Fitzgerald and maybe they know more, but 13 guys are going to be asked about that next week. There should not be a football program that is the center in Indianapolis. If I was Northwestern, I would back away and I would say, we do not want to take away from the event because that would be the dominant storyline ahead of Michigan, Ohio State, or whatever is going to happen in the last year of the divisions and the new coaches that are in the league. It'll be all about Northwestern if they are present.
As bad as they've handled all of this, that would be on brand and then show up for media days. I'm like, oh, now you show up. I also want to know what Sam thought on Ham's Beer.
He was kind of, he got into it. He's had it before.
We joke, but they literally did ask Nick Saban about cake before the end of our show yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it just means more.
Yeah.
There are, I think there are more coaches probably in the SEC that would be a hang than you would find in the Big Ten that you would want to hang out with. Like everybody wants to hang out with Sam Pittman.
Absolutely.
I mean, I want Sam Pittman to win at Arkansas. Last year wasn't as good, but Sam Pittman is like one of those guys. Like when you think of an Arkansas football coach, don't you think of Sam Pittman?
Yep.
Like a nice buttoned up guy that is humorless and shows no emotion doesn't strike me as a guy that would be at Arkansas.
No. Because
that same guy that would be nice and stale once had to do pig suey, and he looks so out of place. If Sam Pittman does pig suey, even Dave Van Horn, you're like, perfect. I bet that guy's been doing that his whole life.
You know, when KU lost the Liberty Bowl last year, walking out of the stadium, I said, it sucks. They were so close. But you know what? At least it was Sam Pittman. It's a good dude. I can get it's okay. It's a good day. So, yeah, I would say in the SEC, when you talk about good hangs, I'd put Sam at the top of the list. So now you got me thinking in the Big Ten, like, who would be the good hangs? Could have hung out with Matt Rule last night at Chris Stapleton, apparently.
Yes, in town. I heard it was a great concert. Not a surprise. Trev Alberts was there as well. I'm sure that was a place to be seen.
Yeah.
Rule would be a guy you could hang with.
I think so.
Harbaugh. See, the thing about the thing about coaches in the Big Ten is the Big Ten might have the collection of the quirkiest head coaches.
Yeah.
Because you have two of the quirkier guys in the profession in Jim Harbaugh and also in PJ Fleck. Now, I think James Franklin is not on that level, but there's some quirkiness to him. There's just not as many guys in the Big Ten that you would consider a hang. Like I could see myself hanging out with Luke Fickell.
I was just going to say that. Fickell would be one. I mean, I might have said Fitz a month ago until
Bielema?
Yes.
I mean, but essentially Brett Bielema is the Sam Pittman of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Big guy with a big boisterous personality.
He's up on the grill.
Doesn't, he's not wowing the ladies as he walks by, except for his wife. But on a different note, at Big Ten Media Days. So this came out yesterday. Iowa tries very, very hard of late to eliminate distractions. And Iowa's either going to be the number 1 or number 2 preseason team in the West. They've got a defense and a schedule where they don't play Michigan, Ohio State. They've got an opening to win the last year of the West Division. And I'd be more surprised if Iowa's not in contention to win the West. You could make a case, Wisconsin transition, Fickell, they came up short. There's a lot of expectations on Iowa because of the schedule, because of the defense, and they're putting everything into Cade McNamara that Iowa should be playing in Indianapolis. But when they go to Indianapolis, will they have Noah Shannon? This was a weird, to me, thing that came out of Iowa City yesterday. So Noah Shannon, who is a member of the defensive line, and again, Iowa defensively is going to be really good again, was slated to go to Big Ten Media Days. And then he was not. Yesterday, there was an announcement out of Iowa City that Noah Shannon will not be going to Big Ten Media Days due to the ongoing NCAA gambling investigation. Remember this way back around
May?
April? Late April, May. It kind of coincided after Iowa women were in the Final Four.
Yeah.
And so you had 15 athletes at Iowa State that were suspended. You had 26 athletes at Iowa. Shannon is the first one. I think he's the second one because we know Keaton Anthony on the baseball team, which was a key loss for Iowa, was one of the players that was suspended. Now we know one of the football players that was suspended is Noah Shannon. So I'm thinking Kirk Ferentz doesn't make these kind of mistakes, and it's Kirk who selects who's going to the Big Ten Media Days. And we don't know where this is going. We asked this around baseball season because it pertained to some of, a really good player on Iowa's baseball team. Is the NCAA ever going to conclude this? Why is it taking so long? What does this involve? Does it involve mobile apps for betting? Was it involved in, hey, just having some fun with the Iowa women in the Final Four? Was it something else? They made the mistake of betting on sports that the NCAA offers, which is a red flag. Like the NCAA doesn't offer pickleball or cricket. So you could actually bet on those sports. But Shannon is the first football player that has been made public. Now, internally, all of this.
Right.
Did Iowa think, and they just a couple of weeks ago announced their contingent like everybody else did in the Big Ten. Did Iowa a couple of weeks ago, Jimmy, think that this would be concluded by now and that Shannon would be cleared? Because this seems like a weird mistake that you all of a sudden have to pull a guy back, and now everybody knows he's one of the 26 on the campus that have been suspended. You would know that.
Right.
You're either...
Compliance has already told you this is your list.
You either made a mistake or you thought that in the next week, the NCAA would have wrapped up their investigation and Shannon would not be suspended. So it leads to more questions. I mean, are we looking at like 1, 2, multiple game suspensions for Iowa and Iowa State players, and especially him on the defensive line? I mean, is he going to be suspended for a couple of games? This was just a weird. I didn't expect this to float across the timeline yesterday, and Kirk had to know that Shannon was still suspended when they announced that he was going, or they would not have included him.
Absolutely. And their administrators that work with the program, usually they're all kind of lockstep and, okay, he's out. We can't take him because of this. So that if you do it anyway, and then now you have to walk it back, it's, I'm with you. It's like, how's that happen? There's no way you didn't know. And you think, well, maybe it'll be wrapped up then. When are they ever wrapping up anything? And they'll be wrapped up by next week. All right, so 2 months, got it. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Like, are we going to find out more public names?
Yes.
Like, are there more football players that are suspended? Are we looking at, on the level of how much you bet, a 1-game suspension, a 2-game suspension, a slap on the wrist, or somebody that could be out for a year?
Yeah.
This was it was an odd. Either you thought that it would be concluded and it would be not made public and no one would know that Shannon was one of the ones that was suspended, or you just made a major mistake, because then you have to put the kid back out on the front line of, I can't go, his statement that he released yesterday.
Yeah. That's...
But for Iowa and Iowa State, I would be, because on what importance they are to the team in terms of a starter or a backup or on the roster. If I'm Matt Campbell and I'm Kirk Ferentz, I'm like, hey, can we get a resolution here? Can we get some cooperation with the NCAA and the state of Iowa and whatever has to go on so that we can move forward?
Yeah.
Instead of the season starts in 6 weeks and we may have some guys that are important to us that are not going to be able to play. Because now I'm wondering, okay, how much did Noah Shannon bet? What did he bet on? Is he going to be suspended for a couple of games? Is he going to miss the Iowa State game?
That's where my mind went.
It was just a weird move that I don't think as a head football coach you would put yourself in unless you thought, well, it'll be over and then we can hide it and no one will know. Well, now everybody knows. Yeah. And so you think, okay, what else? Who else is out there? Who else is on your football team that might be a starter that you may not have for opening day?
I now also see marketing potential. FanDuel could be the new sponsor for the Cyhawk game.
Too soon?
Hey, we life goes on. We still all got to make money.
Yeah, that might be too soon. All right, 41 past the hour. There's Jimmy. I'm Gary. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duct Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. cleanairradio.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers fans, assemble! Join us on Friday, July 22nd for Marvel's Defenders of the Diamond, featuring an appearance by Thor. The team will wear special Black Panther jerseys that'll be auctioned off during the game, so don't miss your chance to go home with a piece of the fun. Dress as your favorite Marvel superhero and get your tickets today at omahastormchasers.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm, we're family.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
We've all had this happen. Somebody says something about a thing, and then a couple of days later, you see an ad for that thing pop up on your newsfeed. Weird, right? Well, in an honest attempt at not being weird, Langfeld Overhead Doors would like you to remember them when you or your friends need a new garage door. You can trust the professionals at Langfeld Overhead Door to repair or replace your garage door. You can also trust them not to listen in on your conversations, because that's weird. Langfeld Overhead Door. 402-234-2700.
You know that feeling. When you do something good for someone else, that volunteer vibe is worth chasing. To find your perfect volunteer fit, check out shareomaha.org. Find simple and fun ways to help. Give your time your way at shareomaha.org.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis or candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Nothing is every day.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clear skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
So speaking of media days going on now in college football, and then next week, the Big Ten Media Days, Connor and myself will be in Indianapolis on Wednesday and Thursday with wall-to-wall coverage. Nebraska's contingent goes next Thursday. There's going to be some bad questions that are going to be asked, whether they be at the main podium or be on the side sessions. So Christo Lamprecht, an amateur, is leading the Open this morning. He is 2 clear of Sink Spieth, Fleetwood, and Seam. The second question that he was asked, so you have this amateur that is in the room. He's had this great round of 66. The second question he was asked, what size shoe do you wear? The first question is about how was your day? The second one is about what size shoe do you wear? His answer, nothing crazy, just a US 13.
Oh, okay. Okay. My column.
What was it? What would be the angle for the reporter that asked
what I
what your
wanna know.
shoe size is? Would that be back to the foot fetish discussion we had?
That or local podiatrist. We need to get a source.
Or there will be a column written about no player that has worn a US 13 that has led after the first round of the Open has gone on to win.
Now that's a baseball stat. It plays its home games in domes that play games after 7:05.
Hello, Bill James. Glad to see that you're over at Royal Liverpool. Steve Sipple in the next hour. Brian Edwards a little bit later, 6 weeks from tonight. Let's go opens the season against Minnesota. We talked to Random Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hey, you're talking about Fitzgerald knowing, and remember reading about the original whistleblower, and he talked about that distinctive clap they had in practice to identify who was going to be disciplined.
Yes.
With the hands over the head.
Yep. The Shrek
and he
clap.
mentioned that the players would do it to identify who, and Fitzgerald would do it.
That's why you can't. I'm having trouble with anybody that the claim of Fitzgerald was oblivious to this. Now, some of the allegations are kind of broad and they're sweeping, and if you put somebody under oath, then we're in a different situation. But I just can't figure out how he would not know some of this was going on.
Well, Gary,
depending on what level it was or not, how would you not know that stuff was going on in your program? How would the athletic director not know as well?
They felt Fitzgerald knew because he was doing that distinctive clap.
Yeah,
that it was all his doing, and that's why when any number of them were thinking, well, we got to go to Fitz about this. This is bad. They thought he was in charge.
Now that's why
he was identifying him.
That's why the defense of Fitzgerald that I'm seeing a little bit more from media doesn't hold weight, because I'm having a hard time wrapping my arms around how did he not know at least some of this stuff. But now that coaches are being implicated, that they were in not only knew but were involved, it's another day. It's going to get worse for Northwestern before it gets better.
Yeah, and we all agree. I mean, it seems everybody agreed Fitz would be the last guy you would think would be involved in this kind of thing.
Yeah, but don't you, Mike? We've been through this enough with coaches nowadays where, I mean, everybody's flawed. I think we've discussed this last week. There's hazing happens still in 2023. It goes on. You can't be oblivious to it. It's not like it was 30 years ago when Pat Fitzgerald was playing football or, Trev Alberts was playing football. It's completely different in the kind of hazing that goes on in 2023. Different levels. I mean, we immediately think of hazing and you think of something negative and unlawful right away, correct?
Well, certainly. I remember Damon. I don't know if it when you guys were together, maybe with Severe, he would talk about some of the stuff that the D-line did to initiate, and it was really grotesque.
Yeah, it was grotesque, but it didn't cross the line. There was no physical contact. There was no sexual acts on each other.
This whole sexual thing, it's just kind of bizarre, isn't it? You wonder, how did it get that way?
Yeah.
And it's easy to see how some people, some players, would be extremely uncomfortable, maybe to the point of being traumatized by it. But you know what they always say? The best teams, you hear this all the time, are player-led. And I can see where Fitz would say, in the locker room, we want you guys, we will not interfere. You guys are in charge, the seniors or whatever, for discipline. But his involvement with this distinctive clap, that who was going to be disciplined, and then it obviously got way out of control. So I think the reason they didn't go to him was they assumed he knew about it because he was doing the clap to identify who was going to be disciplined.
But do you have a sense? Because this is one of the things I thought about, is that this is not just a Pat Fitzgerald thing at Northwestern. This is probably going on when Fitzgerald was playing football there under Gary Barnett.
That's exactly right. And do you remember the scandal at Colorado?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Barnett said he didn't know. And then if you want to read a great article by Rick Riley, a Colorado grad, remember that female kicker that was sexually harassed when she was there?
That led to his departure.
You read that article in Sports Illustrated that Riley wrote, and he's a proud alum of Colorado, and it's really sad.
Yep. Is that it, Mike?
Take care, bud.
Hey, thank you.
Remember the Gary Barnett stuff very well. We were in college senior year at media days for Big 12, and everybody, that's all they wanted to talk about because this really blew up that summer. And so I had an idea because we'd heard all we needed to hear about that, and there wasn't much more. So I asked him, can we talk about football? Because I legitimately wanted to hear about their football team that year because they were going to be pretty good. And that's kind of where I got the idea what I said earlier about if Northwestern were to go to media day, because then he was happy to talk football with a bunch of kids from college for 30 minutes about football, because I was like, well, what other questions could I ask about that? So, but to what Mike is saying, yeah, if that's going back all the way back then, there's some more people that are going to fall in this deal. That's just getting started.
Well, you're pulling back the layers, and
yeah,
it just has the sense of there is
not good.
Such a poor leadership at the top through a series of athletic directors and missteps and making bad hires for athletic directors, making bad hires that you have. So you have football. They have an investigation of their cheerleading program that is going on. You have baseball. Yesterday, volleyball and softball got brought into it. Chris Collins, is he like running around?
Pretty good now.
Is he running in the streets of Evanston going, thank you, thank you, thank you? And it's not like, in the past, well before Chris Collins got there, they've had some issues with Northwestern basketball. But this starts at the top. I mean, the leadership is not strong enough, and they're getting exposed. And when the Big Ten has a scandal, it's not like they have just a minor scandal. The Big Ten
they
goes
all in.
All in. Penn State, Michigan State, Ohio State, now Northwestern. It's not just a little thing that you go, is it really a scandal? No, those 4 particular cases have morphed into larger scandals. And there's a question that's coming up at a place like Northwestern. One, I wouldn't be surprised if it's an ongoing conversation at a place that they go, why should we even have athletics now? Look what trying to be competitive in athletics in big boy sports has done to us. And then that gets off on the track of, we lose our mind and we spend all this money. I mean, come on, just stop for a moment. But that's got to be on a place that prides themselves in academics, just like Stanford. And by the way, Stanford has a scandal going on. Their president is out.
Yep.
Thanks to the school newspaper. School journalism.
Yeah. Shout out.
But there's academies are saying, well, what's our purpose here? Why do we have athletics? Let's fight a brand new football stadium. So this is far from being done.
$800 million renovation.
But do you think, because look at your reaction to Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State. Are those 3 schools tarnished?
Nope.
Just another day and we move on.
Yep.
Sorry for the victims. Sorry for people involved. But I'm still going to go to a Penn State game.
Yeah.
I'm still going to go to Ohio State. I mean,
they brush it off like it's.
Hey, I'm 42 days from football. That Jim Jordan scandal. Yeah, that's you got. I'm still going to enjoy my Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Because
it's what they do.
That's what the academic side of Northwestern is saying. Well, we're tarnished now. We're never going to get back our reputation. To be honest, has Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State, their reputation returned?
Penn State's the only school where you could argue it's still going to always be there, but not to the extent as it should.
I will agree with you. And do you think it's strictly because it's football? So that's where Northwestern is in this, because this is around football. Not Northwestern doesn't hang out in the same neighborhood as Penn State football did under Paterno, or where Penn State football is now, but because it's football. Michigan State, you can go gymnastics.
Yeah.
Horrible. Too bad the guy didn't get stabbed to death in prison in Florida last week.
Yeah.
Ohio State, it was wrestling. Penn State, because there was a statue and Paterno is Penn State football. You're right. I agree with you. That will always linger at Penn State. Bill O'Brien couldn't get away from it. Even James Franklin further down the road from 10, 11 years ago, that's still around. At Northwestern, the next football coach who would greatly benefit from a clean slate, new president, new athletic director, entirely new coaching staff, anybody that had been implicated, a secretary that knew about it, she's out as well, maybe. But I agree with you about Penn State. Penn State is the only one of those three in the Big Ten that you could say, yeah, they're tarnished and they will always be tarnished.
Like you said, it's still
Penn State, because Penn State will always be tarnished because of that.
And
but we still move on, and we still 6 weeks from this weekend will be back in a football stadium, and we don't even think twice about it, unless you are a diehard Penn State person that you think that Paterno got railroaded.
Other than that,
and some think that Fitzgerald got railroaded.
Yeah. And how much deeper this goes will impact kind of the legacy of this whole situation. Does it go away? Do we talk about it? Or does this become so big as it implicates more people that it does tarnish to where you say Northwestern and you think of this?
So will reporters in Indianapolis save a hazing Northwestern question for a side session, or will they ask it while a coach is up at the podium with their 10 minutes?
Podium. Somebody's going to do podium. There's always got to be one.
Name your reporter that will be his angle to ask 13 football coaches about hazing in college football.
It'll be a reporter that's not entirely there for the sports aspect.
Good call. Good call.
Because they're like, I don't care. This is my story. I'm doing it.
All right, 2 in the book. I want to get there, and I want to talk football.
Yeah.
I'm not oblivious to this is the biggest story in college football going. And 6 weeks from now, it's not going to just all of a sudden disappear when Northwestern takes the field. But that's why I don't think Northwestern needs to be here, because it's a distraction. It's time to celebrate football, talk about football. We're not there to talk about Northwestern. I don't want the Nebraska football coach talking about Northwestern.
Yeah.
Okay. He's never coached against Pat Fitzgerald. He's probably not super familiar with the Northwestern program. I don't want my football coach being asked those questions. I want my football coach being asked questions about his particular team. Going to be asked. But if the football program that is going through this is not there, you're less likely to have it as a major storyline.
And that's exactly why I started talking football with Gary Barnett that day.
Yeah, good call. That's Jimmy. I'm Gary. Nick has stepped out. Nick's emceeing the Special Olympics breakfast over at the Scott Center on the Omaha campus this morning. He'll be back in tomorrow. 2 more hours to go. Steve Sipple will join us coming up at 8:30 on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can't expect a significant slowdown eastbound along I-80 near 126th Street. On L, be prepared for a significant delay from 108th all the way to 96th. And on Center, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 175th to 168th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Does great pay, fully funded medical benefits, and a solid retirement sound good to you? IBEW has immediate openings for electricians. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call 402-810-0789 or visit IBEW22.org today.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Kugler Vision. Kugler Vision makes new vision affordable with no interest payment options with approved credit. How do you find out about these great options? Well, you go to KuglerVision.com to book a consultation where you will then meet personally with the doctor, and all of the questions that you have will get answered. I went through this process 5.5 years ago. You can do the same today. Head to that website and book a consultation online, KuglerVision.com.
Let It Fly Sports Bar is your elevated sports bar experience. Located in the Capital District in downtown Omaha, experience Let It Fly's unique brand of hospitality with 2 floors, 2 bars, 2 expansive outdoor patios, and an in-house podcast studio with live broadcasts of the Let It Fly show, hosted by me, Michael Severe, and Josh Jones. Host your next watch party, private event, or date night right here at the Let It Fly Sports Bar. Now open.
If you're tired of trading one dead-end job for another, trade your job for a career. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers has positions open right now. As an IBEW electrician, you'll get training, higher pay, paid health care, and retirement. Build a better life for you and your family. Make it happen. Call 402-810-0789 right now. That's 402-810-0789 or get details at IBEW22.org.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's hot outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink icy cold, Nebraska-brewed beers, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
As the world faces the challenges of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Lions recognize that kindness matters now more than ever. And Lions and Leos are finding ways to continue to serve our communities, including ordering food delivery for healthcare workers, holding story time for children online, and providing surgical masks to medical professionals and first responders. Empowering us to do more, Lions Clubs International Foundation has provided nearly $2.5 million in grant funding for COVID-19 relief. And that support continues to grow. For more than 100 years, in times of need, Lions always find a way to help those around them. And after we emerge from this, we will be stronger than ever. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Halftime brought to you by Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's. It's Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
So whatever Northwestern football looks like moving forward, Nebraska does not, unlike last year on the opener, does not get Northwestern until after the bye week in October on the 21st. Adam Rittenberg is reporting that sources tell ESPN that Northwestern has explored options for a special assistant to David Braun, the interim head coach. Former longtime college coach Skip Holtz, now head coach of the USFL's Birmingham Stallions.
Like Jim Grobe.
Dave Wanstadt has mentioned this morning on 670 in Chicago that he spoke with Northwestern about a coaching position. That might not be a bad idea.
No.
To have somebody that has coached in college, is a veteran coach that can kind of be a stabilizer for a guy that 6 months ago was the defensive coordinator at a FBS school or FCS school at North Dakota State, shows up in Evanston, and all of a sudden is elevated to run the program.
It's like, can I go back to Fargo? I don't know if I signed up for this.
I know people will say
This could help him.
Like David Shaw would be a guy. I don't know what David Shaw wants to do. I think David Shaw is very content in sitting out the season.
When you said that one day, that's what I thought too. Hell, I hope he ends up on TV at some point this season. He's really good at it.
He has disappeared.
Yeah.
And again, good for him. He
Like he
looked
won the
like
Powerball.
he post-COVID at Stanford, he looked like he had aged. He was battling to keep the football program afloat and then all the other things that Stanford was trying to throw in your way. David Shaw looked like he was tired. He had aged. So good on him if he just takes a year off and gets completely out of the spotlight. But I'm intrigued by the Dave Wannstedt. I do think that they need to add somebody on that staff that has a veteran background that can kind of be a sounding board, be a good football coach, but also help
just stabilize
interim coach. Yeah, because they got to play the football season. I mean, they're not dropping athletics at Northwestern. They've got to, when the season starts 6 weeks from now, Northwestern's going to be asked to go play Rutgers. I mean, whatever team you show up with, I don't care, but you've got to go play a football game. I'm very intrigued by that.
When Matt Rule was hired at Baylor, one of the things he did was thank Jim Grove for the job that he did, stabilizing things for that 1 year there to keep everything in place and just kind of keep it running. It was a 1 year deal. All he was doing was helping. That's what would happen here. It's like, hey, just here to help. Help the staff, help the people, and then off I go.
Brandon says, Wannstedt, really? Question mark. Is he going to be the next coach at Nebraska?
I was wondering when.
Remember those days?
Yes.
Remember when that was a discussion? That was a long time ago. Thank you, Brandon, for chiming in. I mean, Wannstedt's been on TV.
Low-hanging fruit.
Well, those days working at Pitt, in the NFL, live as a Chicago guy. He'd love that.
Yeah.
Draw a lot of attention. I get it. He doesn't
took
need
the
to be
Bears to the playoffs.
He doesn't need, whoever this is doesn't necessarily need to be an on-the-field, hands-on guy. They basically need to be the head coach without being the head coach.
Yeah.
That's what they need right now. But as I scroll through Twitter, I have a question for you, Jimmy, and everybody else. So I know that Twitter has been upside down. I have not gone to Threads. Boy, remember when Threads was a thing?
I still have a Threads, but I haven't threaded.
Threads have been... Somebody always talked about Threads this week. It's been, TweetDeck, the new TweetDeck sucks. You got to go back to the old TweetDeck. How do you find to get back to the old TweetDeck? Twitter is playing nice for, I think we're on about 3 straight days.
Mm-hmm.
But did something happen? Is it about the algorithm of where we're at? And when I say something happened, did all of a sudden we flip it here in Nebraska and weed is legalized? But have you noticed that there are more ads for weed on your Twitter timeline?
Did you know Cheech and Chong have gummies?
That's what I'm talking about. There's bang, bang, bang about 6 straight tweets. And then all of a sudden I see Cheech and Chong with a lady and they're selling their gummies. And I'm like, where's that coming from? All right, scroll down, scroll past that. 4 more tweets. Hey, Cheech and Chong are back.
They have gummies.
Do they have a bigger marketing budget than Barbie?
That's what I wonder.
Barbie is everywhere.
When do we get in cahoots?
And now Cheech and Chong with their gummies are all over Twitter.
Can't wait for the Barbie gummies to come out. Hey, you know what will really enhance that movie? Yeah. Hey, I won't lie. I did my research after they kept popping up on my timeline. I was like, all right, I'll play. What is the deal? And it won't tell you how much it costs. I was like, that's a bad sign. I'm out. And plus the reviews weren't exactly positive. We have establishments right here in our own city that can get you there if you need to get there. I don't need Cheech and Chong on my timeline to tell me.
All right, so hold on. So on the desktop, it is not there. But here I'll scroll, and then bam, there they are again.
Oh yeah, it's on my phone.
Yeah, not on the desktop. But I didn't know if, all of a sudden things are changing around here. They realize your location. Iowa and Nebraska are both going to have legalized weed, and Twitter is going to tell us about it, and they're going to get ahead of it so that Cheech and Chong can be your best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can get a sponsored segment. Yeah, I got problem gambling here on the desktop. That's no fun.
To be a problem gambler, or that it's...
Or no, that's a problem. No, I'm sure
ad.
it can be fun if you're winning.
Right.
Actually, I know it can be fun if you're winning. I like winning.
Texter Bernie says Threads or Clear Pepsi, which had a shorter shelf life?
Clear Pepsi was around a while. Couple months. Threads, still got a few weeks to go.
I mean, Mastodon was going to be this great thing. It was going to take over Twitter. then blue sky. There were invitations going out, and that lasted about 4 hours. And then threads became a thing when Twitter was rate limiting.
Everyone joined.
And everyone joined, and they were all excited. And I have not heard anybody all week go, hey, follow me over on Threads. We're having a great discussion about the upcoming college football season.
We'll call it a thread.
Elon is still winning.
Mm-hmm.
And Cheech and Chong are helping him make up for that large deficit in cash flow that he's looking for.
That's what I'm thinking. There's something there. I think they're in cahoots.
Did he give Cheech and Chong a deal? Cut him a deal on the promoted ads.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And give you something so you don't feel that scratch.
Does either Cheech or Chong feel like Jimmy two guys that would hang out with Elon or support Elon?
No. But only if they've had a lot of their own gummies.
They support capitalism and get in the bag.
Exactly.
All right, Sip's coming up in a little bit. Let's get an update with Jimmy.
We all like money. I don't know about gummies, but we like the money. Anyway, all right. Get this back on track. Hey, with sports, the Storm Chasers fall behind early, can't recover. 9-4 loss to St. Paul last night at Werner Park. The Saints scored single runs in the first and second innings to take the lead for good. The Storm Chasers cut into the lead in the third inning when Brewer Hicklin scored off a sac fly, but St. Paul scored 4 runs at the top of the fifth to pull away. Samad Taylor tripled in the fifth to drive in another run, and Nate Eaton hit a 2-run homer in the ninth, but the Chasers couldn't get their deficit below 5 runs. 2 teams do it again tonight, 7:05. Once again, should be an absolutely gorgeous night. In the NFL, Saquon Barkley says he has considered not playing for the Giants this season, admitting during a recent interview that he might have to take it to this level, whatever that is, amid his stalemate with the team over a long-term contract. Barkley discussed his leverage in contract negotiations with the Giants during an appearance on the Money Matters podcast. Everybody has a podcast that was recorded before Monday's deadline for franchise players to agree to long-term deals. The Giants and Barkley did not agree to a deal before the deadline, meaning he will have to play the upcoming season under the $10 million franchise tender. Since he has still not signed the tender, Barkley cannot be fined for missing training camp. There's a loophole, which begins for the Giants veterans this week or next week on Tuesday. The 2-time Pro Bowler will lose money only if he misses regular season games and has to forfeit game checks, a possibility he acknowledged he has considered. You see what he said. He said, my leverage is I could say F you to the Giants. I don't know what the F means. I could say F you to my teammates. That's not a good thing to do. Barkley told the podcast, which published the July 11th interview on Monday. And then he goes on to say, and be like, you want me to show you my worth? You want me to show you how valuable I am to the team? I won't show up. I won't play it down. And that's a play I could use. That's slowly getting uglier and uglier. Stay tuned. What's not getting uglier? It took 61 years for Roger Maris's American League season home run record to be broken. Aaron Judge's hold on the mark could be ended by Shohei Ohtani after just 1 year. Judge said records are meant to be broken on Wednesday before the Yankees lost to the Angels. Yeah, they lost again. It would be exciting for the game if he went out there and got 63 plus, so we'll see what happens. Ohtani went homerless Wednesday, leaving him with an MLB best 35 homers in 94 games, on pace to hit 60. Judge hit 62 last year, one more than Maris did in 1961. Shohei set an Angels record with 15 home runs in June and went deep 3 times in his first 5 games following the All-Star break. Judge said the biggest hurdle is more mental than physical. Miami Marlins third base coach Jody Reed fractured his lower right leg when struck by a foul ball off the bat of Jesus Sanchez during Wednesday's game against the St. Louis Cardinals. The injury occurred in the third inning of the Marlins' 6-4 loss at Busch. Marlins quality control coach Griffin Benedict replaced Reed for the rest of the game. Hey, and this one, people may be kind of sleeping on this one, but you better wake up and see it now. The Baltimore Orioles have moved past the Tampa Bay Rays into the AL East lead for the first time this season, as they beat the Dodgers 8-5 on Wednesday behind 3 RBIs from Ramon Urias to avoid what would have been their first time getting swept in 14 months. Hey, remember, the Orioles were bad. Gunnar Henderson homered and scored 3 runs, and Urias doubled twice for the Orioles, now 58-37. Baseball's back in Baltimore, who had a .611 winning percentage, moved in front of the Rays, who dropped to 60-39 with a 5-1 loss in Arlington last night to the Rangers. Baltimore's 50-30 following their 8-7 start. The Rays have lost 11 of the last 14.
Yeah, remember when the Rays were 29-7?
Yeah,
with a 31-32 since. Ironically, as Baltimore is back in first place since 2016.
About that,
they opened a 4-game series at the Trop between the O's and the Rays.
ALCS preview, just as we all expected. The Dodgers have played well. I mean, they're 55-40. They won 8 of 9 after taking the first 2 games of that series. And in the AOS, the Astros beat the Rockies in Denver 4-1 to keep pace with the first place Rangers, who continue to have a good season. Yeah, if they were hoping that the Rangers were going anywhere, they're not. They're going to be there till the end. And Bruce Bochy, there's going to be a lot of good candidates for manager of the year, and he's going to be at the top of that list.
It'd be tough to keep the guy in the dugout for Baltimore. Brendan Hyde
absolutely.
out of winning that honor. All right, thanks, Jimmy. 15 past the hour. All right, Steve Sipple is going to join us a little bit. We'll talk about a week away from the start of football season around here. Fill in the blank. Does Nebraska have a roster to compete against? And also, we will a question that is being discussed, and I know Rule brought it up a while back, and this ties into Saban talking about expectations compared to you have a program that has a standard. We don't talk about expectations. There's just a standard when you're at a place like Alabama, where you've won national titles, and you're one of the few that every year when you go into college football season, you're going to be competing for a national championship. But there'll be a lot of discussion about expectations and win total and floors and ceilings. And then there should be a discussion about what exactly has this football program, since they last played and made a coaching change, earned going into the season, which begins 6 weeks from today. All of that and much more as we roll till 10. Plus, we'll get you an update on the Open, where a guy that stands 6'8" is currently in the clubhouse with the lead. And oh, by the way, he's an amateur. Hell of a story going on over at Royal Liverpool. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, when you're looking for that next vehicle, I got a place for you. Shop Woodhouse Buick GMC. First, experience the difference. You go a lot of different places, and you have plenty of options in town to find that next pre or new owned vehicle. And Woodhouse Buick GMC can take care of you. They got a climate-controlled indoor showroom. It's 119th and I. They've got a ton of inventory. Really something for everyone. Whether you want to get a passenger vehicle, you got a son or daughter that's headed back to college, or you're ready to go back to school, and so you need something reliable, you can find it. That stylish SUV that fits the family comfortably. It's got plenty of cargo room, infotainment, check. A capable truck for business or for pleasure, check. Great deals, check. Like the 23 GMC Sierra 1500 right now, which you can save up to $4,000 off MSRP. How about a saving of $1,500 off MSRP on the 23 GMC Acadia? And we'll go a step further. A very stylish, very comfortable, very smooth drive. The 23 GMC Buick GX, you can get a great lease offer right now on that vehicle, $299 a month for 39 months, 10,000 miles per year. See more details with the dealer. All these go through the end of the month. See dealer for details, and you can only find them at Woodhouse Buick GMC, 119th and I in person, or the same offers, the same service, the same inventory can be found online, where they simply have everything, something for everyone at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
People are excited by our clone Elvis. What a natural idea that is for dead celebrities.
It's out there. It's available.
Nobody in the Presley estate who was particularly attached to Elvis is alive anymore. So why not sign off on the likeness? Like, clone Elvis.
Just an idea, just yet another fantastic idea from us here at the Connor Happer Show.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy Thursday with a high today of 84 degrees in Omaha. Breezy with north-northwesterly gusts possible up to 20 miles an hour. Mostly to partly cloudy skies for your Thursday night, staying comfortable with a low of 63. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees. The Source. By your mom's house.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a slowdown westbound along I-80 near the I-680 North Ramp. On Industrial Road, be prepared for a significant delay from 149th to 144th. And on Center, it looks like there's going to be a significant delay from 192nd to 180th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Backlund Plumbing.
Backlund Plumbing, the most referred plumber in town.
Backlund Plumbing is the most referred plumber in town, and that's because of our professional plumbers. If you'd like to join the Backlund Plumbing team, go to backlundplumbing.com.
Shop Sid Dillon Chevrolet, Nebraska's #1 volume Chevy dealer. Visit any of our 4 locations for your new Chevy or pre-owned vehicle, or at siddillonchevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
You get more with Murphy Tractor. We'll help you choose the right John Deere construction piece of equipment, performance tier, attachments, tech package, and financing options to fine-tune your fleet. Each of our 29 locations has a diverse lineup of new, used, and rental equipment, along with a wide variety of parts inventory and experienced service technicians. Give us a call at 855-246-9124 or visit us online at murphytractor.com.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Businesses of Omaha, settling for a website that looks like it's stuck in the early 2000s? Then it's time to level up with JM Online. Our local team builds custom websites that solve unique business needs. We're not your typical web design company. We're your partners in online success. Ready to take your website to the next level? Go to jmonline.com and request an initial call.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
A couple emails into the Equitable Bank inbox. Gary at 1620thezone.com from Bellevue. Joey, first off, I agree they should not be at Big Ten Media Days talking about Northwestern. But the very petty side of me can't forget how smug the Northwestern media was towards Nebraska a few years ago. So I'd like to see them squirm trying to talk about this. TC writes, I used to have a little crush on Susie Colbert. Not like Joe Namath, but anyway. I guess Scott Van Pelt is going to replace her on Monday Night Countdown. How the heck did Booger McFarland not get that?
Yeah. He's like, hey, I survived.
So Scott Van Pelt should be the face of ESPN, even though it's Stephen A. Smith, followed by probably Pat McAfee?
The answer is yes, yeah. What Scott's doing is similar to what Stuart Scott, rest in peace, was as far as involved in so many things there that you're like, oh, yeah, Stu's there, okay. Stu was there on Monday Night Countdown, and then Susie replaced him, obviously, after he passed. And so, yeah, they basically, if you need a bucket, Scott's the guy they go to, but don't tell Stephen A. that.
Did I see that Shannon Sharp is like Friday, like tomorrow, ESPN's going to announce what his role will be at ESPN? Like he won't be, I get the sense that he will not be a permanent co-host with Stephen A. Smith, but will be in that rotation of fill-ins, which will be Skip Bayless's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
To have his two chief rivals now will come together and work against him.
I usually don't root for Stephen A., but in this instance, I kind of like this. I like them teaming up. Okay. I'm still not watching, but I don't know. Maybe anything else that Shannon does, I might watch.
Shannon Sharp not have a non-compete?
That's what I wonder. Also good on him if he negotiated that deal.
Maybe to get out of his deal early?
Yeah. Or there wasn't a non-compete.
Or not physically handling Skip Bayless on air.
Yeah. Team Morant wanted that smoke.
Yeah, they did. Steve Sipple's coming up here in a little bit. At the Open today, so the story is that an amateur is in the lead, Christo Lamprecht, is actually tied with Tommy Fleetwood. Fleetwood has had a good close, and Fleetwood actually is on 18 now with a chance to take the lead, but they're both 5 under. Stuart Sink, Antoine Rosner are both 3 under, and then Jordan Spieth is tied for 5th. Wyndham Clark, who is a popular pick, also is tied for 5th. They are 3 shots back. But the story, one, and an amateur after the first day, and the weather's been great. The weather is supposed to change, and we root for the course and we root for the weather in this particular event. And the next couple of days, the weather is going to be very, very poor. I'm also rooting for a little bit more chaos on this little par 3, 17, that is new this year. It's it looks like it's about 129 yards. But back to Lamprecht. You remember, what was it, it was about this time last week. The quarterfinals of Wimbledon were going on. And Christopher Eubanks, who at the time I thought was going to save men's American tennis, was going against Medvedev. And he was playing great, about ready to knock the number 3 player in the world out. And all I could think about is, how does a guy play at that level of tennis when you're 6'7"? And that's what Eubanks is. If you're wondering, people asked, because I guess this is what you do, hey, do you play basketball? And he said, no, if I wasn't playing tennis, I would be a baseball player. Okay. Ellie De La Cruz is not 6 foot. O'Neal Cruz is not 6 foot. Guys that you stop on the street and go, hey, do you play basketball? They go, no, I would play baseball at 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", or the Aaron Judge of the world, or the Stantons who you go, hey, do you play football? No, I play baseball.
Play for the Knicks.
You know this. You've been out at golf courses. You've been on a driving range. Like in golf, because what you're holding as an individual sport, your club is relatively small.
Yeah.
And it's always humorous to me. I get to play in some of these events where there's football players, primarily former Nebraska players, and you got these big hulking linemen that, they're trying to hold a club and the club just disappears in their paws. But we've been on golf courses and driving ranges where you see guys that are, and even on the tour, that are 6'3", 6'4", and they look like behemoths in that sport. Well, now I'm putting 2 and 2 together of the question of what is the shoe size of Lamprecht. The second question today, after he finished his round, was, what size shoe do you wear? And he said, I wear a US 13. Now I know why, after researching this guy, because I had no idea who this guy was. I'm not going to kid anybody and go, I'm an expert. I had no idea who Christo Lamprecht was at 6 o'clock this morning when I was following on the leaderboard, and he was having a great round. He's 6'8".
Good 3-and-D guy. Get on the perimeter. Long reach, hopefully.
6'8" playing golf.
That's insane. Also, I would think that would hurt my back when you're kind of getting down to putting. Now,
he's not 6'8", 325.
Right.
He looks like he's a very slim 6'8".
Keeps it to one pimento cheese sandwich.
Well, 6'8" playing golf. Most of these guys are tiny.
Yeah.
Like the Rorys of the world, the Ricky Fowlers. They're not very tall. Now they're cock diesel.
Yeah.
But the guy is 6'8". I can't imagine, because I think I played with somebody former basketball player that has morphed into being a really, really good golfer, and he's 6'3", and he looks like a giant on a course.
I can imagine what this guy looks like.
6'8". Christo Lamprecht, and he's leading the Open, or he's tied for the lead of the Open.
Kind of rooting for him now.
Fleetwood, who is right now on 18. All right, Steve Sipple, who is not 6'8", is going to join us next. A week from today, Big Ten Media Days will feature Nebraska. 6 weeks from today, we will be getting ready. We're going to have our big roundtable with all the shows, and all the hosts are going to be together again. We will do that 6 weeks from today. And then 6 weeks from tonight, Nebraska and Minnesota, as Matt Rule kicks off the Matt Rule era at Nebraska. Sip's got thoughts. We got questions. We got a conversation. It's coming up next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Let It Fly Sports Bar is now open in the Capital District in downtown Omaha. Let It Fly Sports Bar is excited to introduce you to a unique twist on food, drinks, and sports, while raising the sports bar dining experience with a new high-end design and incredible food. Our 12,000 square foot sports bar includes 2 floors and a live glass enclosed studio featuring the Let It Fly show and 80 TVs. If you want high energy, entertaining environment while dining, Let It Fly Sports Bar is the spot for you. Now open.
Hey, Mike, I heard you had some paint samples on your house.
Yeah, but with all the kids' games, my 3rd grader might be in college by the time I finish.
I almost tackled that project, but decided to call Fremont Roofing Company to come out and install permanent siding so I never have to paint again.
That'd be a game changer.
They did a great job. Plus, they answer the phone every time you call.
Call Fremont Roofing Company at 402-727-9400. We'll transform your exterior while you cheer on the future athletes of Nebraska.
We're here again at Funplex asking the experts about all the excitement at the park this summer. You there, you just went down double trouble. Thoughts?
3, 2, 1. Don't. Woohoo! Splash!
Okay, sounds like a rush.
Uh-huh.
What about you? Gotta be Funplex Speedway, right? Indeed, words fail. It's time to let the fun drop at Funplex. Get your tickets now at fun-plex.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you can sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Sorry, I'm late. I got here as fast as I could. What'd I miss?
What did you miss? You missed the stop sign at the corner.
You barely missed your little sister on her bike.
You see Mrs. Turner walking her dog? Luckily, he's on a leash, or you wouldn't have missed him.
Don't miss the point of this message. Drive the speed limit and pay attention, or you might end up missing all of your friends, family, and freedom. Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's hot outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink icy cold, Nebraska-brewed beer, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting a spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
Your exclusive home for Royals baseball in Omaha.
Right up the middle, patient, and the Royals are a winner.
1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, 34 past the hour. Let's welcome in from on3.com, 93.7 The Ticket, Life in General, Stephen M. Simple. Good morning.
That's an excellent intro. Thank you for that, Neil Young.
We've gone Tom Petty. We've gone Neil Young. Jimmy,
seemed like he would dig it.
Jimmy's in your wheelhouse here.
Yes, he is. Thank you, Jimmy.
You bet.
What's one of the best rock and roll songs ever played anywhere?
I'm not going to disagree with you.
When Pearl Jam's covered it with him, that's a pretty good one too.
Yeah. Hey,
Ooh, I bet that's good. Man.
Are you? Well, hey, Pearl Jam is going to be in the Twin Cities 6 weeks from tonight. Couple of nights show. You can cover the football game 6 weeks from now, and then hang around the cities for the weekend and go see Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll hang around the streets for a weekend in my situation, but it's very empty. I will say that.
Hey, so because we're going to do this next week because we want to say, hey, we're 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away from the season. Anything changed about what you think will happen when we're sitting at the stadium on the campus 6 weeks from tonight?
Not at all. I don't think that's a bad thing. No. It's been I'm shooting off the hip here. I think it's been pretty quiet. No, nothing's changed. No. I kind of commend the staff, and I'm always, I think quiet can be good in a football program. To keep things routine. Everybody's, let's put it this way. No rest, that I know of. Nothing, no major off-field issues. Now, to be fair, it doesn't always portend success because Frost's program didn't have problems. There really weren't off-field issues. Nothing major. That's one thing you can say about Nebraska, even though it's struggled in recent years. It hasn't been that.
No.
There hasn't been a spate of issues. But no, I haven't. No, I'm where I was in how I regard the team. I'm where I was at the end of spring ball.
Yeah, we haven't had a summer of two guys fighting with each other. They both get kicked off the program or stealing bikes. You're right. It has been a while since guys have been on the police blotter, like numerous guys have been on the police blotter. So with that,
we've seen that too.
Oh yeah, I mean, Bo had some guys. There's some guys that I think could have been.
Yeah.
There were some guys that could have been dudes here. I mean, who wouldn't want to see Thomas Brown play, Ernest Suttles play here? But they had a stretch where they had some knuckleheads. So with the current team, and they're a major wild card. They still got some issues with talent depth, but you can see they've addressed that at least starting in the class of 24 to say, hey, we got to get an influx of talent around here to solidify some positions. Do you think when Rule talks, and here's the other thing, probably refreshing compared to past, that guys have just kind of gone about their business. Players really haven't talked. You haven't seen videos of them working out in Memorial Stadium. Matt Rule, outside of, the spring game and then doing some individual one-on-ones, he hasn't had like a big midsummer press conference like some other coaches have. Do you think next week he will go there at all on setting expectations or discussing what expectations should be?
To be asked. That's a good question. And I think it is a good question. I don't think we'll get a very interesting answer. I think what he has said before is a very common sense answer, which is, we want to win every game. And we think we can win every game. So I don't want to, I like a coach who says, it's always sort of interesting. What if he came out and said, 7 or 8 would be great? Well, that means you're losing 5. So you're just automatically telling your team, I think we're going to lose 5. That's not the coach I want I know how we do this. We think about it in terms of fans and media. That we always do this. We think about these answers in terms of fans and media. Sometimes what I try to do is think about it in terms of the players and the staff members. I don't know. I know this. If I was a staff member or a player, I wouldn't want my coach conceding 5 losses. So you don't think we can win them all? What are we doing then? So I don't think he'll give you like a Bill Moose answer, which was, was always the headlines at Big Ten media days when Moose, I think back-to-back years, basically said, he set sort of a bar. Like, if we can win 6, that'd be great.
Mhm.
It's a little different when the AD does it than the head coach, though. I'll tell you one thing: if I were an AD, I went with my head coach, putting limitations on the program at any point. So, and I don't think he will. I bet that Rule wouldn't say, look, we just want to get to a bowl game.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't like to hear that if I were a player. As a fan, it doesn't bother me too much. But as a player, I don't want to hear that from my head coach.
I would almost want to hear this, and I agree with you. And I think he's kept it in perspective. One of the better lines that he has said since he's been here is, what we've earned right now is to be a 4-8 football team until we haven't.
Yeah.
And we got to prove that. I think that's a really good line, because I think what they have as a staff and him, they've earned some respect of, okay, I might not be able to see it year 1, partially year 2, but you were hired for year 3 and 4. So I got my respect, and that's what you've earned. But I want to give you a line, because I think he won't. I think expectations are not the thing to talk about with Matt Rule in year 1. I think it's more of, hey, where is your time frame? Because in his head, he's got, okay, I'm taking over this program. I know what I'm inheriting. It might be 4-8 last year, but there are some things that don't look 4-8 that we can fix. But I'm wondering, like, his time frame in his head. Okay, if we get this going and this going, then you know what, man, by 24, 25, we're in a great spot. I would like to know more about, has his time frame of what he has seen, has that been moved up a little bit to when he thinks this program will pop?
I don't know. Again, I don't know if he would go there or not. I mean, it's sort of a dangerous conversation. And then you always got to keep in mind that if he goes too far down that road, it runs contrary to something that's largely their mantra, which is, we're just taking this day by day. We just want to get better each day. It's very cliche, but listen, I don't mind some cliches. I don't. In a football program, we can roll our eyes collectively when a coach says that. We just want to take it day by day, but that's the best way to do it. I don't know. I mean, I just know if I were in his shoes, I wouldn't give a lot of thought into what I'm going to tell the media about what's going to happen 4 years from now. I don't know. I mean, I think you just say, we're just worried about getting better today.
Oh.
You try to invoke the whole, I think we can catch Ohio State and Michigan. You just set yourself up a little bit.
Yeah. I don't ever, I shouldn't say ever, I don't envision him. I envision him talking more about his own football program than talking about anybody else. And I think that's that's the smart thing to do.
Right. I think that head coach, when you go to an event like Big Ten Media Days, I think you got to avoid some traps.
Yeah.
There's certain traps that a veteran coach knows are coming, and you can definitely sidestep those traps and still give some meaningful answers for the fans. But that's a trap. I mean, a trap is, what's your expectations for the season? That's a trap. How quickly do you think you can get this program to where it's competing for championships? That's a big trap. I mean, I don't think you need to get ahead of yourself right now if you're Rule. Maybe he will. I mean, it'd be great if he does, because it would give us a lot to chew on.
Yeah.
But I doubt he'll do it.
And him and Luke Fickell will be asked about expectations a lot. Steve Sipple joining us. Hey, when's the last time you talked to Taylor Martinez?
It's been too long. Probably a couple of years.
Do we know what he's doing?
I think he's in the real estate business. That's the last I knew. There was some game. He
did some apps
in the gaming industry. I think it was an app, some kind of something like that. But I think he evolved toward real estate then.
I would hope, because I said this yesterday on air, and I think because you covered all these guys, you have kind of the same sentiment. I think their Nebraska Football Hall of Fame class, the guys that played at Nebraska, that's a really good core of guys that are going in, and probably Dumas and Vanden Bosch and Sam Cook are going to get overlooked a little bit, and even Spencer Long. People are going to focus on Taylor, and they should. Do you think he'll come back? You think he'll be here at that ceremony?
Yeah, I do. I do think he'll come back. When I interviewed him quite a bit when he was gone for a period, because he wanted to get his name out for business purposes. But I think Taylor will. I think he'll be back. I hope so. He was important. He's very important. He got that team to 2 conference championship games, and for a period, he was looked upon as a Heisman threat early in his career. So yeah, I think Taylor will be back.
I hope so too. I think his career has aged fairly well, even with all the wild roller coaster of on and off the field stuff that went on. He's the last, in my opinion, Sip, he's the last national Nebraska football player where you could go on vacation in Costa Rica like you like, and you bring up Nebraska, and they would have said, 10 years ago, oh, Taylor Martinez.
Is he the last one, though?
I think so. I think that you could go in any place in the country, and if somebody's talking about Nebraska football, it was Taylor Martinez. I'll tell you.
That's what I would think. His last year? His last year was
2013.
See, when you say that about Amir Abdullah, he was subsequent of that.
Yeah, but Amir, even though to us we can pick out games of Amir, he never had the Thursday night freshman ESPN against Kansas State moment where the entire country is watching, and all of a sudden they go, "This guy's going to win the Heisman."
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. The Miami game in 2014 was. I'm with you. Now, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just throwing out the Miami game in 2014 when Amir lit up the place, and it was a monumental moment for us. But you're right. If I didn't capture the nation like Taylor did, I don't know. Like on 3rd and 10, up 17-3 in Manhattan, they call a quarterback draw, and he goes the route. He runs for 60 yards or whatever it was. That moment still gives me the chill, and it gave the nation the chills. You're right. That was a moment now. So yeah, you might be right about that. I have to think it through a little bit more.
Hey, there's 3 guys that were in the contention for a Heisman based off a Thursday night game played by Nebraska. Remember in '95, the game in Stillwater opened the year. LP.
Yeah, Lawrence.
Yeah, I was like, that guy just got himself invited to New York City, and then you have the Thursday night game in Columbia where everybody is, taking their shoe off and pouring, 4 inches of rain out of their shoes. And Sue is destroying the entire Missouri football program on his own. That was a Thursday night game. And then the game we just talked about in Manhattan a couple of years later.
Yeah, so maybe Tim's on Thursday on a Thursday night game will like things.
Bam! There we go. We've connected the dots. That's 6 weeks from tonight. That's when he jumps in. He has a huge game on national TV, and people are going, whoa, Nebraska got a different version of Jeff Sims, Heisman Trophy guy. We figured it all out.
Yeah, I don't know if you go that far, but honestly, though, if you're a Nebraska fan, you really hope on that Thursday night that he completes about 65%, throws some beautiful deep balls, and has some great runs, and then and they win the game, and you're off and running. Come on, that's what Satterfield, that's what Rule, they have to be thinking that way.
Oh, that'd be the ideal scenario. You would you would put at least aside for a moment any question about Jeff Sims and a new offense in a new location, if he could do that. But let's be honest, Nebraska hasn't beat Minnesota since 2018. I know what they did last year. Minnesota's got some question marks. Nebraska's a great wild card in that game.
They are.
We're all going to get ready for kickoff at 7:00 6 weeks from the night, and we're going to look at each other and go, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, Gary, I appreciate this conversation because of what you said about Nebraska. Nebraska is really a wild card. They really are. It's a hard one to read. They have some talent, but they're deficient in some areas that concern you, mainly up front. Up front, it's a wild. The offensive line is a wild card. I say they're deficient. Then when I looked at it, and I was talking to Dom Raiola yesterday, when you talk to a Raiola, it doesn't feel deficient. Like it's like, okay, this is the time where it should start to get good. So maybe that's not, but up front on defense, light. I mean, they're just light, and they just don't have I don't think they have enough bodies. Now, Rule would tell you otherwise. I think if he hears us talking like this, he's like, "What are you guys talking about? We got bodies."
Well,
I don't know though.
They got 15 scholarship defensive linemen. Almost half of them are freshmen, and you just moved two guys over there that are freshmen. That's where they're going to start their career. No, they don't really have any experience of guys that have played in the Big Ten on the defensive line. That's a valid concern, probably for the entire season. On, is that defensive line not going to get moved around, and are they going to make enough improvement? Are they physically going to be in a position, because you got some young bodies that are there? Are they going to be in a position to withstand a 12-game season?
When I should be more clear, because I'm a writer. When I say they're a little light on bodies, I mean experienced bodies. Yeah. I mean guys that on Saturday in October are ready to roll. I mean, that's where I think they're a little light. I mean, they have a few guys that you look at: Ty Robinson, Elijah Judy, Nash. To a certain extent, Nash, he's got a lot to prove. But there's some guys that are veteran guys. You think, okay, they can hang in there, but they don't have. It's not like Michigan, where they're 2 or 3 deep. And you don't worry about it at all. You just wonder if anybody can run on it. Yeah. See, Nebraska's not that. I mean, you wonder if they can hold up. Especially as you say, and I always think of it this way. I don't think about it as a September discussion. I think of it as a November discussion. Mm-hmm. If you're in anything, that's when you got. If you're in any contention at all, that's the month, November.
If you have a defensive line that's good enough against the run, that a school like Minnesota that prides themselves on being physical and running downhill and have gouged you year after year under PJ Fleck, if you can hold them to, heck, I would even take under 4 yards per carry. You would consider that a win 6 weeks from tonight. Hey, get you out on this. You're bearing the discussion. Do we have a column coming on a discussion with Dominic Raiola again?
No.
Okay.
I just called him and asked. I just called him and asked him about that kid from Hawaii. They just recruited. Preston, say the last name, Tamua. Dominic was very familiar with him. I had just watched his film and I just on impulse wanted to see what Dom thought. And that kid's, hey man, he takes the fight to you. I always remember this. It was last year during camp, and Donovan Raiola was addressing the guys. Campers said, we always want to take the fight to him. We need to throw the first punch. And he recruited some guys in this class that you watch the film, they throw the first punch. I think we got very impatient with Donovan, and now things are starting to sort of crystallize in my mind. Like, you got to wait for him to get his own guys in here. You see a guy like Preston Tamula on film, and you think, he takes the fight to the guy. He throws the first punch.
What?
So, I think it's interesting.
Well, his hands and his lateral quickness, and I think he could play tackle or guard, but he's a thick 6'4", 317. And look at the last 2 All-Americans on offensive line at Nebraska both came from Hawaii. The guy you just talked to yesterday, and Finoti.
Yeah.
And Finoti's the last All-American offensive lineman, and we're on 22 years.
Yeah, I mean, you got to, 100%. I mean, maybe I'm watching him and kind of longing for that. Maybe I give Preston Tamula kind of the benefit of the doubt because I'm thinking about Finoti and Dominic and guys like that. Junior Tagavai. I might be thinking of that a little bit.
Hey, one quick thing, I'll get you out of here because you brought him up and you talked to his brother. Could you make a case? Because you know what it was like last year. You had a head coach who, for some reason, Scott sometimes would fancy himself as an offensive line coach. We saw what he did with Greg Austin after that Michigan State game a few years back. And you have a brand new in college offensive line coach who's trying to figure things out, and you've got the urgency of, man, we got to win right away. And you got guys that you're learning to figure out their strengths and their weaknesses and, whatever you could do recruiting. And then you got this GA that's next to you that's being praised because he's a good offensive line guy. Could you make a case and get away with it that Donovan Raiola, this is actually year one for him?
I guess in a sense, it's hard for me just to ignore a season, with any coach. There's still accountability for what happened. He's got to be held accountable for what happened last year as opposed to just erasing it. It wasn't not that it was a disaster. It wasn't a disaster. But no, I wouldn't erase it. I would say that he was in the early stages of setting standards and getting his guys to operate on a daily basis like he wants them to. It's fascinating. There's just little fascinating things that people don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like if a kid, and I know this happens where, one of the kids gets in some hot water with the academic people. Well, what's happening now with the offensive line is everybody's in trouble then. It's not just the kid.
Yeah.
It's not just the individual kid who's in trouble. It's the other guys that are too. They're all responsible for each other. That's the way an offensive line has to be. It's not always that way. Not all coaches preach that, but man, I'm going to tell you something Donovan does. That's a unit. He wants them to walk to the field together. They all go to the weight room together. You've heard that.
Yep.
They do that. They all dress the same. That's a unit. They have to operate as a unit. Now, I think you'll start to see the fruits of that line of thinking this year. That's what you hope. So maybe was it? Yeah, I think it's probably a little early to expect that the kids would understand his standards and understand the way he operates just 1 year in. And I said that, hey, Gary, I said it all last year. I'm not going to judge him in 1 year.
Yeah.
I like, and I'm not going to do that with the staff, the assistants. Rules is a different story, but the assistants, you got to give them time. I'm not going to judge him 6 games in and say, hey, Dvorak's a disaster. No, you don't do that. You got to give him time.
Sip, I appreciate the conversation. We'll see you next week in Indy.
All right. Yeah. I look forward to that.
I think that's Stephen M. Sipple from on3.com and 93.7 The Ticket.
That could be some epic radio. You get them there in person. They're like the old days for you guys.
Oh, see, so we haven't the radio station hasn't been to Big Ten Media Day since I think 19. Yeah, it was year 2 of Frost. Adrian shows up, and it's like he spent the whole summer lifting weights, and we both, David and I, looked at him and we're like, "Are you too big?" I think we might have asked that on air, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm fine." And yeah, that was the temp was a little bit different in 2019. But Sip gets preoccupied, so there's a lot of squirrels that fly by and things that are distracting. So Sip is tough to narrow down.
I could see that.
I wouldn't want to be on his radio show because, a lot of moving parts. He's looking at stuff. He wants to talk to people. He'll just get up and go. Yeah. But we'll be there next Wednesday and Thursday. There is more to the Christo Lamprecht leading the Open. I am going through the Q&A when he got done. There's a tie. So he's 6'8", and we got our good golfing guy who's got to change his Twitter handle because I can't mention the F word on air.
Okay.
About being 6'8".
Good morning.
So
F word.
Christopher Eubanks, the 6'7" American tennis player that made a run at Wimbledon, went to Georgia Tech. Lamprecht went to Georgia Tech as well. He's an amateur European playing in the Open, and he is tied with Tommy Fleetwood at 5 under. They both shot a 66 today. But the press corps is confusing a couple of our favorite fast food joints in the South. It's kind of funny exchange that we will read when we come back. Brian Edwards still to come here on this Thursday edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley with Jimmy as well on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a slowdown westbound along I-80 near I-680 North. On Industrial Road, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 149 to 144th. And on Dodge, be prepared for some delays from 94th all the way to 77. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Backlund Plumbing.
Backlund Plumbing is the most referred plumber in town, and that's because of our professional plumbers. If you'd like to join the Backlund Plumbing team, go to backlundplumbing.com.
Backlund Plumbing, the most referred plumber in town.
How powerful is Cox Fiber? So powerful that one day, your daughter will be able to simulate a soccer match against some of the world's best players right from your backyard. Introducing Cox Fiber. With fiber-fast speeds, it's internet built for tomorrow, today. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and other restrictions apply.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Safiva, Rotella's Italian Bakery Bread. 5 generations of making bread. The old-fashioned way with modern traditions mixed in. You know, long time ago, no one thought about gluten-free bread. They probably didn't think about ciabatta bread as well. But you know who thinks about it? Rotella's. They want to take care of you. They know you have your needs, and they want to provide bread for you. Head over to 108th and Harrison and La Vista, and you will see where the job gets done. You'll get free smells, and you have a chance to get some great discounts on bread as well. And of course, you swing by your grocery store where it's always affordably priced as well. Whether it's hamburgers on the grill, hot dogs, bratwurst, maybe you're going to do a pulled pork or a brisket sandwich. The bread to go along with your great meat comes from Rotella's Italian Bakery. 5 generations. It's about family, taking care of your family from the Rotella's family. Head out now, get yourself some bread, and of course, 108th and Harrison or your local grocery store, and it's 100 years of tradition, Rotella's Italian Bakery Bread.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here to talk about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked or uneven concrete, Everlevel can do it all with their complete repair solutions. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, and protect the surface, all at a fraction of the price compared to replacement. And better yet, they offer long-term transferable warranties. I'm so glad I chose Everlevel for my driveway. Give them a call for your free inspection. That's Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel. Try saying that 3 times fast.
The first day of school is just around the corner, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Be a part of the 25th Annual Salvation Army Civic and Health Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 6th at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Health System urgent care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, so we have a 6'8" gentleman, an amateur that is tied with Tommy Fleetwood at the Open. They both shot 5 under par. Good call by Nick. He selected Fleetwood. But Christo Lamprecht also went to Georgia Tech, but it's 6'8". So Rob from South Dakota, who has his Twitter handle is John Thune Sucks Nuts. He's on the course every day. So up in Brookings, he is out there with the golfers. He said the longer the lever, the more torque. He probably has 3.5-foot arms plus the length of the shaft equals pounder. Did that read correctly?
Sounded like a menu.
3.5-foot arms plus the length of the shaft equals pounder. He doesn't need much strength to hit it far, just momentum. The longer, the better, hence long drive competition. Thank you very much, Rob. Now, the media are enthralled with this guy. There was a question, because his caddy this week is his assistant coach from Georgia Tech, and he's 6'8", and they ask him, what size shoe do you wear? So he said it's pretty normal. It's a US 13, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. I know there's a lot bigger feet in America, but no, it's pretty stock standard. Okay. We might share something in common. I'm a 12. The next question is, has anybody told you that you kind of sound American? This is the European Press Corps interviewing Lamprick after his 66 today. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of trouble probably the last year and a half with all my friends back home in South Africa. Apparently, but yeah, it's bad. I don't know why it's changed. I can't change it back. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, so be it, right? Then the next question, do you eat all your meals at Bojangles or anything like that?
Uh-oh.
No, I'm really picky with my food, so I'll just keep it basic. Yeah, you can't. I guess you can't really phase away from American food if you're there, so you're going to have to eat some of it. Do you think they were confusing Bojangles and Chick-fil-A?
That's what I think.
That is an odd question.
Bojangles is pretty good.
Lamprick is a senior at Texas Tech via South Africa, and he's tied for first at the Open.
I don't know if there is Bojangles in Lubbock. Not that I can remember.
I think it has. They got to get it confused with Chick-fil-A.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because Bojangles in Atlanta is not super popular. It's Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. I had Bojangles in North Carolina.
Wow. These questions through the Q&A, not much about his golf. People want to know about him going to Georgia Tech and being an American, sounding not like a South African, and how tall he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking feet and food at the British Open.
These guys would be great at the Big Ten Media Days.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Fantastic asking questions.
What do you think they eat at Northwestern? What?
Yeah, I'll leave that one alone. All right. There's Jimmy. I'm Gary. Coming up in the next hour, Brian Edwards will stop by. We'll talk some win totals. We'll drop some Stanford. We'll drop some Texas A&M and a couple of Big Ten teams as well when B joins us before we're done at 10 on this Thursday edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
The takeaway here is everything they did is worked.
And it's worked to the point that the attendance is up 8%.
That is bonkers. So, I mean it's showing itself in every facet of baseball.
It's working.
Working on the field. It's working in attendance. I'm guessing, I'm not a TV ratings guy, but I'm guessing the postseason is going to have an uptick in viewership.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy Thursday with a high today of 84 degrees in Omaha. Breezy with north-northwesterly gusts possible up to 20 miles an hour. Mostly to partly cloudy skies for your Thursday night, staying comfortable with a low of 63. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
You don't plan for a computer virus. You don't plan to lose files. You don't plan to knock your laptop off the counter. And you don't plan for your PC to crash or your screen to freeze. But Staples has a plan. A plan for unlimited virus protection. A plan for help when you need it 24/7. Staples Total Support Plans are your tech plans for the unplanned, starting as low as $199.99. And although you didn't plan for this, right now at Staples you can also get $250 off select computers. N729 in-store only. See associate for details. details.
Join us on July 22nd from 4 to 11 at the Ralston Granary event for one of the greatest team-ups of all time, beer and barbecue. Lagerfest 2023 brings more than 20 Omaha area breweries serving their most crushable craft lagers in partnership with the Ribstock Barbecue Festival. Omaha's premier barbecue event combined with delicious local brews. You can't beat it. Don't miss Ribstock and Lagerfest's family-friendly event July 22nd from 4 to 11 at the Ralston Granary Event Center. Visit ribstockbarbecue.com.
Happy birthday to us. That's right. We're turning 50 this year, and we're celebrating with you. Introducing my new birthday cake streusel, topped with vanilla cake and crunchy streusel, a swirl of white icing, and showered with rainbow sprinkles. Paired with our classic combo, the one that started it all, and your favorite one-topping pizza. Happy birthday feast. Enjoy one today. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Nick Handley here. You know, we are really lucky to have DJ's Dugout here in Omaha. For 30 years, DJ's has always been Omaha's own casual and comfortable iconic sports bar. There's no better place to watch sports and gather with family and friends. Huge media walls, great food and drinks, whatever the season, football, volleyball, basketball, watch the game at DJ's, and DJ's handles large groups too. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
Explore a career in broadcasting. Jobs in advertising, sales, news, sports, digital content, and more are available at the Nebraska Broadcasters Association Virtual Job Fair. On now at broadcastersvirtualjobfair.com. See the kinds of jobs available as well as specific positions here at 1620 The Zone. You can apply for jobs online. It's on now. Brought to you by 1620 The Zone and NRG Media at broadcastersvirtualjobfair.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
All right, so just checking because they went on sale in Minneapolis. Tickets, the single game tickets for Minnesota football. So Nebraska, Minnesota is live. They are expecting a gold out, or that's what they're promoting, is a gold out. Outside of the student section, which is in the end zone where the scoreboard is not, it is opposite the open end zone. If you have been to Huntington Bank Stadium, it looks like there's a lot of availability.
Oh,
I mean, so the season ticket holders had first crack at it, and then I guess they label them as single game priority people. You know, maybe you donate some NIL, but you're not a season ticket holder. You get nowadays an NIL, you donate some money, you get some access, you get to see practice, you get access to tickets early. But going around, it does appear there are a lot of tickets available for that game. That is 6 weeks from tonight.
So basically, buy your tickets, figure out the rest later. You have 6 weeks to kind of make your plans, and so you can do a gold out minus the 20,000 in red.
And will this game sell out? Will there be 50,000 people at this game?
Oh yeah.
It's Minnesota in school.
Do they do quarters also?
Well, when yours truly was there for a semester to begin my college career, we did quarters. Like school didn't start till September, like late in September.
Yeah.
So all your buddies had already gone to school, and you were still at home for a month. They may have changed that, but if you're looking for tickets for that game, unlike the Colorado game,
they're there.
There are a lot of tickets available for the opener 6 weeks from tonight. You were mentioning off air the Falcons this morning announced that they're bringing back the red helmets. Don't know if they'll bring back Steve Bartkowski or William Andrews.
Yeah.
And if they will
Bubba Bean.
If they will play back at Fulton County Stadium. We've seen Tampa Bay, the Creamsicles are coming back. Seattle had a great throwback uniform reveal. The only thing missing was Jim Zorn or Dave Craig
and
being and Bosworth. We have made it this far. So we're 6 weeks from the season. We have had no discussion. Matt Rule has kind of controlled the whole narrative. We haven't had an in-depth discussion about black shirts when they're going to be handed out. We've not had a discussion really about captains. We're now just trying to, we're just now figuring out what the 10% means. We also, Nobody. And maybe maybe you're over it, or I don't run with the young kids anymore, but nobody has brought up alternate uniforms. What game is going to be Nebraska's alternate uniforms? Not even a peep.
Well, there'll be red on red.
Possibly. Here's what would keep Matt Rule on a good train and a good path.
No surrender whites.
Do not do that. Bring back and make it permanent the gray face mask.
Yes, I did see that yesterday.
So
I'm in.
So I don't know why I'm doing this, but I went back and watched the Oklahoma game from 21. Just a little bit, I wanted to see Gabe Ervin. And that's the game that Gabe Ervin went down with his knee injury. But that was also the game, there are going to be throwbacks. Nebraska went with the gray face mask. Great look. That was a crisp road game look with the gray face mask. I would love it if Rule said, I'm not into alternate uniforms. We don't need uniforms to recruit players.
But
our players that are in the current uniforms are going to recruit our next players to come join them in the uniform. We don't need, what we told Adidas, we're good. We're good. We don't need the alternate uniforms this year. But I'm going to make one change, and we're going to have gray face masks, and they're going to be permanent. And I'd be like, man, that guy, national championship year one.
I'm with you. I liked it. I saw the picture, and it does look crisp.
Oh,
why not?
That day, Nebraska's uniforms look fantastic.
Yeah. The only thing missing was, besides winning, was a colder day.
Well, turnover in the red zone here or there, or missed field goal, downfield penalty probably shouldn't have happened on Cam Jurgens. An injury to Gabe Ervin. Mark writes into the Equitable Bank inbox at the Open, where the weather is great today. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it looks like San Diego.
It will change.
Not what I signed up for.
It will apparently change tomorrow morning. But Christo Lamprecht, who is a South African, who is a senior at Georgia Tech, and then Tommy Fleetwood, who is not an amateur and who is not a senior at Georgia Tech, they are tied for the lead. They both shot a 65, and the media can't get over Lamprecht being 6'8", that even though he's from South Africa, he sounds like an American. So they have just bombarded him with questions, not about his golf game, but about life in America. Mark writes in, media enthralled with him until he shoots an 82 tomorrow, and he becomes a distant memory.
Fair.
Which is all in play.
Fair.
But he was 5 under today. Rory McIlroy just finished the first hole, and he parred. So he is teeing off right now. Spieth is on the first page of the leaderboard. He shot a 2 under. He's been really, really good. Stuart Sink, Wyndham Clark. That's somebody who got a lot of love. They are both 3 under, but the leaders have 2 shots clear. All right, coming up, Brian Edwards is going to stop by. When we come back, I do want to mention Nebraska basketball released their non-con. Actually, we gave credit. Husker Hoop Central had the whole non-con the other day, and we went through it. Well, now it's official. And if you're a fan and you have season tickets, you might be like, is there another team going to be added to the home schedule?
See wins at least.
But if they're not 9-2 in the non-con, what does that mean? 9-2 in the non-con. And this is a schedule that is set up not for you, but for him. I'll explain when we come back. There's Jimmy. I'm Gary. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, We take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Does eating at home have you singing the blues? Stop by Cobb's at the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or 72nd and Jones to grab a delicious pizza, burgers, fresh salad, and some tasty charred wings. They even offer keto crusts and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Cobb's, now with 3 convenient locations to serve you. Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and 72nd and Jones. Click cobbspizza.com to see the menu, pizza, and so much more.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
United Way of the Midlands is celebrating 100 years of helping others in the Omaha Council Bluffs Metro. Since 1923, United Way has been creating a circle of support to help our neighbors in need overcome challenges and build a brighter future. Through funded programs and direct services, United Way helps meet families' essential needs, such as healthy food, safe and stable housing, healthcare, and more. If you'd like more information on how to get involved and support United Way, go to unitedwaymidlands.org.
PACE, Police Athletics for Community Engagement Organization, is dedicated to preventing at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children from becoming involved in street gangs, crime, drug use, and victimization. PACE provides an opportunity to develop discipline, self-esteem, and positive moral values through wholesome competition and free participation in soccer, baseball, CrossFit, and flag football. To help PACE and local families make sure kids have access to safe and fun spring and summer activities, please go to paceomaha.org to support the PACE mission. Thank you.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated. That used to be me. Then I got this. Align Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion. A probiotic, right? Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus Food Digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Nothing is every day.
Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
The fact that anybody thought that Ed Orgeron would entertain Northwestern. Have you seen the man? The man got a $17 million buyout.
Why would he go back?
He's got a new fiance. He's yoked.
Yeah.
He's nice and tan. He was spotted on the beach yesterday. He was walking with his fiance. He was shirtless. I mean, Brian Kelly is not shirtless walking on the beach.
Not yet.
There are probably a lot of college football coaches that you would see walking on the beach shirtless. But Orgeron would not only he's at the beach shirtless post LSU, but remember when he was the head coach at LSU, he would, during his lunch hour, would jog through the campus shirtless. He was recruiting at the time. So he is filmed yesterday on the beach, just having a good time. His fiance is with him. They're holding hands. He's shirtless. She's not wearing much. And so he stops to talk to what I think were some fans. And then it became, because this is the popular thing, that he rizzed up these girls, they were rizzed up by Coach O. I still don't get that, but
remember, this
yeah.
is the good thing, right?
Yeah. By the
Okay.
way, do you realize that Livy Dunn is just killing it in the NIL world since the College World Series?
I believe
Might
it.
have been the interview with me.
Yeah.
Because now she's got razor. She's got something she did yesterday where
Some seltzer.
Well, she was promoting a product yesterday, but she was doing a handstand in a bikini.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was for the bikini or the match she was on, but her NIL has gone through the roof. But Ed Orgeron, this is what they were saying, is they got rizzed up by Coach O.
I'm waiting for the Livy Dunn gummies.
Well, that's coming to a Twitter timeline near you. But back to Coach O. The fact that anybody, and I don't know, that person that did the report on On3 that had to go back and do a correction, are they going to get the AJC treatment? You know, the guy that wrote the story about Georgia football and sexual allegations at Atlanta Journal-Constitution and violated some standards. He's got the Ziggy.
Yeah.
On3 wrote a story that Orgeron had been contacted. And then I think it was Bruce Feldman contacted Orgeron, and he was like, huh? Go Tigers. Not Wildcats. Go Tigers. And they had to retract it. The fact that anybody would think Ed Orgeron, who right now is living his best life, would even think about Evanston, Illinois. This isn't on the level of when we tried to push Ed Orgeron into being Mike Riley's defensive coordinator. Like,
I forgot about that.
Surrounded him at the championship center when he stopped by to watch practice, and the media throng were around him. And basically, there were a few of us that were intimating, you're going to be the defensive coordinator, and why don't you just take it right now? But he's living his best life, and it's always good to see Ed O. And I imagine that wedding will be quite entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
But the man,
good party, good
the man
food.
got a $17 million buyout, okay? He ain't going anywhere.
You remember what he said to that little deal last year? He says, he just asked me, what door do I need to walk out? Yeah, we all would. The guy who just won the Powerball today. He's not going to Evanston, Illinois either. He's going to take his check and he's going to disappear. Or she.
And you know, I mean, yeah, he could be, and it looks like he's where everybody's going to Destin, Florida for vacation. It looks like he's on a nice, maybe Gulf Beach, nice and sandy. Yeah, it's I've been to the beach not too very far from Evanston. It's not the same.
I'll take Destin.
Hey, what did you say about the Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, they got an alternate uniform too. A heathered all blue with a black helmet, and it's called their Indiana Knights uniform. And the social media post, it was just released a little bit ago, is them Indiana boys on them Indiana Knights. I was like, huh. So I clicked the sound deal to be like, are we playing the song? We are not.
Do they not look like Duke?
Yeah, that's actually what I was about to say when I was telling you about it. And they look like Duke. I actually looked for the D on their helmets. Got the U instead. Everyone's got an alternate. Some good, some bad. I like the Browns one. Kind of out on these Colts uniforms. Always in on throwback uniforms. Everybody should have a throwback.
I would keep the black helmet, and I would then bring back the uniforms, the jersey and the pants. That black helmet with their usual home uniform,
yeah,
I think would pop a little bit.
I could do without the heather, but yeah, you go with your norm, which is what I thought it was at first. But yeah, they will wear them for the first time on October 22nd against the Browns. So the Browns should go for their all whites, but they've already distinguished their games that they're going to do. They're all whites, and that's not one of them. They have 3 of them, and I believe they're all home games. But yeah, it'll be. And I was like, will it be a night game? So I need to look and see. Is that possibly a no? That's a Sunday, and I don't think that's going to be a Sunday night game. So I was like, that screams Thursday night game.
Channel 3 Sean says, not only should Duke get in line for a cease and desist, he says Utica Centennial has a pending lawsuit after looking at the uniform.
It's like when Wisconsin was trying to sue everyone for using their W.
Because Centennial has the horseshoe on their helmet. I mean, they almost look identical to the Colts uniform.
McDonald's has the golden arches. We have the golden arcs.
So yesterday, officially, Nebraska basketball released their non-conference schedule. They travel 348 miles away from Lincoln. They go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, in the middle of November to play Oregon State. It's a Saturday. depending on where Nebraska football is and the attention towards the game in Madison, there will be a good crowd at the Pentagon. It'll be 3,200. I mean, it's a good time. If you were up there when Nebraska blew out Oklahoma State or when Creighton played up there against BYU, it turns into basically a party for 2+ hours. And there aren't going to be Oregon State fans that are going to show up. So 95% of the building is going to be rooting for Nebraska. That's one non-con road game. The other, drive south, go to Manhattan. The total mileage on a bus, 348 miles. The first time Nebraska basketball gets on a plane, because you have to bus to Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Even though the airport is right there by the Pentagon, you have to bus to Sioux Falls. I mean, come on, Trev.
Yeah.
I mean, Trev's trying to, shore up some costs. You can't say, oh, we're going to take a charter from Lincoln to Sioux Falls.
Yeah, that wouldn't go well.
Just ride the bus. Be a bonding experience. Drive up Interstate 29.
Listen to a podcast.
Just make sure you don't speed through Sioux City. They got cameras. Okay.
That's a good tip. Okay, I'll remember that. Though I'm not going that way to go to Minneapolis. But
so 348 miles is all they're going to travel for the non-con. The first time they get on a flight, more than likely, will be when they go and play in the Big Ten Conference. And we discussed the schedule the other day. The first reaction, I'm going to give it to you from the fan standpoint, as somebody that season tickets. Because as fans, like if we're outside of like non-con, Creighton
they have a good one.
Creighton has the ideal fan non-con. They give you a marquee game in Alabama, and then they give you one more in Iowa. Now, that's the game that is set up through the Gavitt games, and then they're going to give you your bye games. Plus, the Big East is going to be really good, so you can balance that to go, hey, we gave you what you wanted. You got a marquee game. You got a good game. But wait till you see the Big East. You get everybody at home, and you go, okay, I'm really, really happy. Here's my check. So Creighton has the ideal home schedule. Omaha, on the other hand, they have a little bit more difficulty in scheduling games, and they've gone with a different philosophy. Omaha is going to play 3 non-Division I home games this year, and their marquee home game is going to be Stetson. They have a Big Sky Summit League challenge, but it is not one of the top teams from the Summit League that is coming here, and they don't get Drake, which they've had in the past. They had Ball State last year, but they are setting up their non-con for wins. And there are other teams, whether it be South Dakota State or Oral Roberts, have kind of followed the same philosophy, is get wins because you're in a one-bid league and you don't have to worry about strength of schedule. Creighton is playing for strength of schedule. Okay, we know we're going to be good. We just want to make sure that we get a little protection when we get to March. We have a good strength of schedule because that Alabama game may turn out to be 2 teams that are at least Elite 8 capable. When I look at Nebraska's schedule, from the fan standpoint, okay, you get Creighton. That's nice. But that's one of those that, hey, I know I'm going to get that every other year. The rest, you go, that Big Ten schedule. But Nebraska's schedule is set up strictly for wins. It's interesting in the last couple of years, and I think Fred kind of scheduled where they thought they would be better, that they would be on the cusp of the bubble, and so they would get a bump from the difficult schedule. Didn't work out. They didn't hold up their end of the bargain.
Now we just need wins.
Now they scheduled for wins. They also scheduled for, we have a lot of unknowns going into the season, and let's have a nice little entry where we might develop some confidence, and Nebraska could be 7-0 when they play Creighton. Creighton and Nebraska both could be unbeaten when they play that game. And it's been, since 97 that Nebraska has beaten Creighton in back-to-back seasons. So the schedule, the fan has to balance, I get to see Creighton and Big Ten with
Duquesne.
And I know Duquesne and Cal State Fullerton won 20 games last year, but they lost a lot. Trelly Wrightsell is not joining Cal State Fullerton in Lincoln this year. So they say, we got to get wins. How do we get wins? So you got an abundance of bye games, probably more bye games than the guy that's sliding checks is comfortable with. But if you're not 9-2, what are you doing?
Yeah, now there's a problem.
9-2.
Because this was set up for that. You can't be worse than 9-2.
But I'm going to give you, I'm balancing this whole discussion. As you know, basketball guy, especially with schedules that you see of teams that project to be an NCAA team. So we want to help ourselves along the way.
Yeah.
You can win games, but then there's the possibility that if you lose one of those bye games, Incarnate Word, Western Illinois, you get dinged big time. So you have to go in with the mindset of, yeah, we're playing this schedule of, Mary Jo and Jane. If we lose, but we don't think we're not an NCAA team that's going to be in depth of a non-conference discussion. We're trying to build a schedule where we get to 15 minimum, 16 or more that gets us to a tournament that begins with an N.
Yeah.
That's what that
has to be.
That's what that schedule is set up. As a fan, I'm disappointed because I like to see really good teams. As a broadcaster, I'm disappointed in Omaha's non-con. I get it. I've heard the philosophy. The whole schedule for Omaha isn't as difficult as it's been in the past. It's actually set up really, really well to give you success and keep your head above water before you get to your conference season when you're in the summit. For Nebraska's schedule, I'm like, okay, there's Creighton. But I know that I get Creighton every other year.
The program I worked for, that would be a lot of the things I'd look at the non-con. I was like, okay, this being set up for a reason. We know what that reason is. And then just in the years before I left, it started to get better. So yes, I understand what you're saying.
And there's also not a
done.
clamoring for, hey, Fred, TJ over here names. Let's talk. Like, when the Alabama Creighton game, essentially all those games are set up through relationships, whether it be the athletic director with another athletic director or two coaches that get together and say, hey,
let's play a game. Let's do home and
it
home.
benefits us both. Look what it's going to do our strength of schedule. But Nebraska's schedule is strictly set up as wins.
Mm-hmm.
How do we schedule accordingly to get us to 15 wins where we get 9 in the non-con and then we build from there? So we get to 15, 16, 17. We're in a discussion to be playing in a postseason tournament.
If you kind of get on a heater during conference season, then you start saying, well, just maybe we go to the conference tournament with a chance to play ourselves into the big tournament.
Well, it's a smart in Nebraska setting. It's a smart play. It doesn't look great on paper. It's a smart play for Nebraska. Where the season will be determined is if you're playing a non-con like this and you have Creighton on the first Sunday in December, and then a couple weeks later you go to Manhattan to play Kansas State. And Kansas State will be good. Will they be a Elite Eight like they were last year? Good?
Maybe later, but at that point.
But they're going to be competitive, and it's going to look good on your
Yes.
It's going to look good on your resume if you get to present your resume to a committee. It's what does the Big Ten schedule that rolls out, what does that look like in your first 4 to 5 games?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be on the road? Are you going to go through a stretch where you've got to play at Purdue on a Wednesday, at Illinois, or no, let's say Purdue on a Monday, at Illinois on a Wednesday, and then the Creighton game is at the end of that week? That's where the schedule, I'll pay more attention of what does the Big Ten hand Nebraska in December. But 9-2 with the non-con, doable, almost minimum. 9-2 with that schedule.
Has to be anything less than that, and that's a different conversation that we were having last spring before they strung those wins together down the stretch. Now, if you can get a easier first 4 or 5 games in league play, could you end up 13-2, 14-2, and building that momentum? But that's what you said about like Purdue and Illinois. I could see that.
Well, because Nebraska in the past has been the beginning of the Big Ten schedule. They get set with a couple of road games.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking, okay, we scheduled pretty well. We're only going to play one Power 5 team or Power 6 in basketball. And then you get handed with the Big Ten schedule, and all of a sudden you got 4 in a row. And Nebraska's they're not at that level to handle that, which is crazy to say. All right, Brian Edwards is going to join us here in a little bit. There is 6 weeks from today, Nebraska football starts. There is a trend that is going on right now with NIL. And NIL is still kind of a mystery around here. We're 2 years into name, image, likeness when it pertains to Nebraska. And a lot of NIL organizations, they keep to themselves. They do a lot of behind-the-scenes work. They're instructed by the coaches of, hey, this is what we need to do. And so they work hand in hand. But Nebraska's 1890 is still kind of a little bit of a mystery. They're advertised everywhere. We think they're doing good work, but we don't know, to the full extent how it's all working and, all the moving pieces and who's involved. And, that's still kind of a mystery behind the scenes. But what I'm noticing is there is a trend with name, image, likeness. Because we got asked in the Equitable Bank inbox, is there any chance that there will be availability to watch practice or anything like that this fall? For fans, doubtful. For media, possibly a couple of times. They're actually changing. My understanding is the media stuff will be Matt Rule only on Mondays. The players are off on Mondays. So it'll be just Matt Rule on Mondays. The normal Monday presser on the 6th floor. It'll just be the head coach. And then the following day will be players, because John Cook has been moved from Monday to Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I think it's still the plan is to do assistant coaches on Wednesday, and then Rule speaks again on Thursday. But Mondays are going to be different around here because it'll just be Matt Rule. There'll be no players because that's their day off. So I'm assuming they're going to have a shakeout on Sunday, take Monday off, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to gear up for the weekend game. But Ken inquired, he goes, what are the chances that fans will be able to watch practice? I think they'll continue with the tradition of students.
Yeah.
That final Saturday before the season starts, students will be brought into Memorial Stadium and they will watch practice. But here is a trend that can be a little bit tricky. So college football coaches are paranoid, as you know, Jimmy.
Absolutely.
But college football fans, they like to spend money and they like to feel like they're an insider and they have access and they like to pay for experiences.
Dennis Franchione was ahead of his time.
He certainly was. The trend in college football with name, image, likeness, because not everybody is able to drop 10K, 5K, 100K, be heavily involved. There are some that want to support the program and an NIL function, but don't have that kind of money, but they would be willing to pay for an experience.
And it adds up.
And this is what is now a possible trend in college sports is you and me, our money, we want to be involved. We want to support. So how do I get myself in? Well, I work with my football program and I say, hey, we would like to have an NIL event surrounding a football practice. We're going to charge fans $500 that goes straight to the NIL fund to come in and watch practice. We're hoping that they will follow the guidelines and not tweet out information that they see during this practice, because to make it worthwhile, $500, it can't be hey, this is just kind of a fun grab ass practice.
Yeah.
If we're going to charge them $500 to $100 or $1,000,
they got to see the good stuff.
It's got to be a good practice where you're going through normal stuff, and we're going to ask them not to reveal stuff that they have seen. Are you on board, coach? You know where a place where they have said yes to this, or a place where you would think, boy, there's a lot of paranoia because we have a rival that is up north? Ohio State is jumping in on this trend where Buckeye fans can pay money. It goes straight to NIL, and they get access at the beginning of this practice next week in Columbus to watch a full Ohio State practice.
You just have the Bucknuts guy walking right. Play, put the phone away.
Or that Bucknuts guy pays $1,000 to go watch Ohio State practice.
He's in.
The smart way to do this, I think this is a great idea, and I think it would be huge here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not telling you 1890 how to do your business. It would be huge here. But you should do it when they're not in pads. So you get to see a full practice, but installation has not started.
Yes.
But yet you get to see all of the players.
I think it's a great idea.
I imagine this is, they're having a little event today with Omaha men's basketball. It's not necessarily geared towards NIL. This would be something in basketball you could see.
Yes.
I mean, look at volleyball to build up their NIL. Say, hey, you want to pay $500 to come in and watch a John Cook practice before the season begins? In.
Yep.
At $500, go straight to the NIL. All right, 9:44. We'll talk to Brian Edwards here in a moment. Coming up tomorrow on the show on a Feel Good Football Friday, we will talk to Mike Schaefer, Matt Verzel. But Ryan Held, former Husker assistant, now the head football coach out at UNK, he will join us tomorrow. For the first time in a long time, living here in Omaha, I have seen more UNK involvement in terms of recruiting. A lot of it has to do with Coach Held. He'll join us tomorrow, coming up at 7:30. So that is ahead on a Friday. Nick will be back in tomorrow as well. All right, let's talk to our main guy. All right, is our senior handicapper from Vegas Insider. You can find his work. There's a lot of great content, by the way, on VegasInsider.com. It is Brian Edwards on Twitter at B Edwards. Good morning, my friend.
Gentlemen, what's happening? How we doing?
Good. Do I dare ask? I said earlier, Billy Napier's name came up on the show because I heard him yesterday, and he admitted that he made mistakes in the 6 and 7 season. They've had a surge in recruiting. Did you see any of his discussion yesterday in front of the SEC media?
I did.
And?
He acts like he knows something I don't, and I hope he's right. I hope Billy makes me look silly, but my thoughts on the 2023 Gators has not changed. Incomprehensible that our quarterback room is so without talent, in my opinion. And but he's doing great in 2024 recruiting.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I had so much negativity this offseason. I feel like it can't get any worse. So maybe we'll be a little better, and maybe that'll be good. We'll see.
So let's talk some win totals. Let's start in the SEC, because another story the other day is I don't know what Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino's relationship is going to be. He does not want to come out and say that Bobby Petrino is going to be calling plays. I don't know if that's Jimbo doesn't want to give up that control, but whatever he does, they got to win some football games this year. And their win total is in the neighborhood of about 7.5. We have talked about this, B. Texas A&M has recruited great. They've had 5 straight top 10 national rankings. But on paper, they don't appear that they can compete against Alabama and Georgia. What do you think about their win total at 7.5 in some places?
Yeah, it's heavily juiced to the over, or I would probably be interested in the over. FanDuel at last look was minus 176 to the over. I think they're going to be vastly improved. I mean, they lost 5 one-possession games last year, but their defense was dynamite. They, only gave up 21.2 points per game, and that was with the fact that their offense was pretty much giving them, nothing. So I really look at it as a team that had a better defense than 21.2 points per game, and they've got 10 starters back on that defense. I look at the schedule. I initially marked them 7-2 with 3 swing games.
We have lost Brian, or Jimbo Fisher has made sure that Brian is not speaking anymore. Let's reconnect with him, Jimmy. So Texas A&M's win total is 7.5. They do return 20 starters. They get Alabama at home, but they've got to go to LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee on the road. Again, the win total for Texas A&M is 7.5. Probably preseason they're going to be 3rd in their own division. Their non-con, which includes a huge game and that huge weekend in college football, September 9th, they go to Miami. So they got New Mexico, Miami, and then Louisiana, Monroe. Yeah, he got a funky cell phone, Jimmy. Well,
did he steal Amy's phone by chance?
I don't know. Brian, do we have you? No, we do not have him. Hope he's not still talking. He didn't realize that we had a bad connection and we had to drop out. So when you call him, he picks up the phone. He's just still going through Texas A&M. And we might. Let's do this. As Jimmy is frantically trying to reconnect with Brian Edwards. If you don't get him here, let's rearrange. We'll get him tomorrow. And I want him to start exactly from what he was saying when I asked him about Texas A&M. That's part of the gig if he's going to join us on Friday. Oh, there we go. All right. All right, we apologize for that. It's probably on our end. I'm sorry. Or Texas A&M fans were not happy with what you were about to say.
So did any of all my A&M stuff got cut off?
Yeah,
there you go.
You just started to talk about the schedule and the close losses from last year.
Yeah, so I had them 7-2 with 3 swing games, being Arkansas, where they're a 3-point favorite, Alabama at home, where they're an 8.5-point underdog, and then the other swing game being at Ole Miss, where they're a 3.5-point dog. I think they probably go 1-2 in those games and finish 8-4, but it's a pass for me because 7.5 is heavily juiced to the over, and I just kind of want to root for it in imploding because that'll become a lot of fun, and it'll be a real big mess with 2 of my favorites, Dumbo and Petrino.
Hey, so let's go out west real quick. They're dead to me because last year I was high on Stanford, and it just fizzled completely out. David Shaw is no longer there. That's going to be odd to see. But they like Troy Taylor and his offensive mind. He didn't have a great start to recruiting, but in 24, he's recruiting better. Stanford is back-to-back 3-9 seasons. The win total is right at 3, which seems odd to say about Stanford. Any thoughts or play on the Cardinal?
So you were kind of going in and out on me there, Gary. But look, I think that Troy Taylor will do a good job. He's a pass-heavy offensive coach who did a great job at Sacramento State. I think in the long run, I think it'll be good, and they're going to be changing philosophies. David Shaw was a run at all costs kind of guy, but the Circus got the total 2.5 minus 165 to the over. I don't think you should just pencil in a W against his former team, Sacramento State, in week 3. That's a team that lost or won all their games except for one to Incarnate Word in the playoffs last year, and won at Colorado State 41-10. I think Stanford, I had them 1-7 with 4 swing games. So the win total's a pass. It'll be a rough season, but Taylor will get them going, especially offensively, in year 2, 3, and beyond.
All right, let's talk about Notre Dame. I've seen it at 8.5. I like Marcus Freeman. They do have a home game against Ohio State. They actually, when the season looked like it was going south last year, they turned it around. Sam Hartman is now at quarterback. How do we feel about Notre Dame?
Well, I think it's going to be a heavy upgrade at the quarterback position, and I think Notre Dame should be good. I've got them 7-2 with 3 swing games. Their win total is 8.5 flat, minus 110 either way at most spots. The swing games being at NC State, which I'm just not too sure about the Wolfpack quarterback play. I do like their roster in general. At Louisville, Notre Dame should probably win that one, but it is a second straight travel week after they play at Duke the week before, and then USC at home. So, I think they get at least one of those probably at Louisville. Maybe they beat USC at home, and that would get them to 9, and then maybe even could win at NC State to get them to 10. So it's a pass for me, but I love Sam Hartman. Yep. I guess if I had a gun to my head, I would probably lean to the over, but I doubt I'll play it.
One final one out of the Big Ten, and they're on Nebraska's schedule for one of the rare times. I don't know what to think of Mike Loxley. They recruit well. Baby Tua is there at offense. They're competitive. They had a chance at Michigan last year, but they never able to get over the hump, and especially in that division. The win total for Maryland this year is 7.5. Baby Tua is back. They got a high-octane offense. They've recruited well. Defense has struggled. I'm looking at the schedule. Your feeling on Maryland?
I think they'll be good offensively. I just don't trust the defense. Win total of 7.5, heavily shaded to the under. I got them 5-3 with 4 swing games, being at Sparty, Illinois at home, at Nebraska, and at Rutgers. So 3 of those 4 swing games on the road. I would say they probably split those games and probably finish 7-5, but I'm not going to play the under because it's heavily juiced. And so I've just been a fence sitter on all these win totals. But I think the Terps probably go 7-5.
Hey, one final one. This isn't on win total. This is just your opinion, because Alabama was at SEC Media Days yesterday, and everybody talks about Saban's legacy and just Georgia taking over the SEC, which, Georgia's won back-to-back national championships, and Alabama's held to a different standard. Dabo hasn't been to the playoff in 2 years. Day's never won a title. Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, and Jim Harbaugh 0-7 in the semifinals. But Saban's got, he's got 6 titles at Alabama. Do you think that he has one more in him before he retires at Alabama?
I just don't know how much longer he's got in him, although he does not look like he's aging one bit. I just don't know about the quarterback. I just don't think it's going to be this year. I mean, maybe, and I don't know that we'll see on the Simpson kid. Maybe he could be the future at quarterback. And I question their quarterback play this year. So I don't think it's going to be a title year. In fact, I'm picking LSU to win the West. I just have my questions about the quarterback play, but anytime I don't question their roster as a whole, really. Maybe not quite on the level of most of the teams in recent past, but if the quarterback play is pretty good, I would be willing to change my opinion on them in mid-September. But right now, going into the year, I just have heavy doubts about what kind of QB play they're going to get. And they just don't have the talent at the wide receiver position like they had for so long with Ruggs and Waddle and Judy, et cetera. I just don't think they're quite as explosive offensively. And, that's where I am with Bama this year.
Georgia has the number 1 tight end, the number 1 player probably in the SEC in Bauer. Do you have any hesitation? Because you're talking about quarterback, and there's 3 guys battling for it at Alabama. Do you have any hesitation about Carson Beck trying to replace Stetson Bennett?
I missed some of that. You were basically asking about Carson Beck?
Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah, man, he passes the eye test. It's a small sample size of what we've seen in mostly garbage time. But, man, he stands tall in the pocket. He's got a good arm. He looks really sharp. I mean, I think we might have hit on it. I put 25-1, just a little pizza money on him to win the Heisman. You can't get that number now. But I think he's going to be good. And I think Georgia feels like they've got 3 very talented, albeit inexperienced quarterbacks with Gunnar Stockton and Vandegrift as well. But I think Beck will be the guy, and I think he'll have a monster season.
We appreciate it. We're 6 weeks away from the start of the season. I might have cut out there. B, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next Thursday. It's Brian Edwards with the terrible phone.
We got there.
Why? Why is it us? Why is it the station?
Yeah.
Why is it people that don't invest in a landline?
That should be a poll question tomorrow.
Might be a crossover question.
We might be taking up burner phones to pass out to some of our guests. Hey, a little parting gift from 1620 The Zone. Just want to thank you for your friendship.
You know what? I don't think we've ever done this. He might be a guy that we need to do StreamYard with.
Oh, I would be down for that with Brian.
There's some days, though, he probably don't want to be on camera. But he can block the screen. Do that. All right. That'll do it for Thursday edition. Again, tomorrow, Feel Good Football Friday. Yes, it will be football. There'll be a lot of discussion as the SEC Media Days will be over. Who's going today? LSU is gone. Alabama is gone. Georgia's gone. Florida's gone.
Leftovers.
Like, if you show up today, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But they do release their preseason poll, which always is a discussion point that should have Georgia at the top.
Paul.
All right. For Nick, for Jimmy, I'm Gary. Crossover with the Connor Happer Show is next.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio.